1. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning. Welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. It's a Tuesday, not a Monday, Dom. I know it's confusing.
Are you sure? What's going on in my studio, man? I leave for a couple of days, the whole place blows up.
Who's stealing our headphones? I mean, they should just say Dom and Crute's headphones. Don't touch. Somebody's been eating my porridge.
Oh, happy Tuesday, Crudy. Great to see you in studio, man. It's been a while.
Apparently Taco Tuesday, back to some old rituals. And it's going to be a big show, aren't they always? We're going to have a protester friend calling in from D.C. today, fresh out of jail. It's our pal, Sarah Pearson, co-chair of the Wisconsin's Women's March. I think that's what they call themselves. Women's March, Wisconsin. My bad. Sarah Pearson calling in from D.C. at 3:30 today. 3:30 Central Time, Dom. Just join me on this show. Just
what
roll with it.
A little
Got
protestation going on down at the Kavanaugh hearings. You know, Sarah always gets in the middle of that.
Apparently, she caught her 8th arrest of the year.
Hey, the number of the day again.
8. So Sarah Pearson, always appreciate when a friend and a perhaps convict call in. Sarah Pearson, about 3:30 today.
Charged, not convicted.
Well, not yet. Not yet. Dom, also, big book has dropped in D.C. What are you doing? Just join me in the show.
Just keep going, man. What's wrong with you?
You're distracting me. We got Kavanaugh hearings. We got Kavanaugh hearings. We got a new book out in D.C. written by Bob Woodward.
And it's ugly. It's crazy town in the White House. It is exactly everything that anybody thought it could be. It is worse than everything.
I've got
assassinations. It is insubordination. One might say insolence on behalf the subordinates of Donald Trump, his own staff, undermining the presidency. How could this be? Where are the Republicans on this issue? And of course, the White House has come out today on Bob Woodward's book and said what?
Effectively, fake news. Fake news. Now, Donald Trump was not interviewed for this book, Tom, but apparently, subsequently, bemoaned the fact that he was not interviewed for the book to Bob Woodward. And Bob Woodward did record the context of that conversation, and you've recorded it for the audience, so nothing else is going right. Let's go there.
Let's go there. And I think this is interesting because, again, we're going to talk to Sarah Pearson today about, the Kavanaugh hearings. And these are decisions that are made by President Trump. And whether you like President Trump, whether or not he will have found to have been in this position legally or not, we'll see what the Mueller investigation finds out. But this audio recording between President Trump and Bob Woodward, I think, gives a unique insight into how this man thinks and works and how he throws his entire staff and his entire staff under the bus, and everything is always everybody else's fault. And, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm the greatest president ever.
Dominic, you've done some production on this little tape. Originally, this was at the Washington Post, but we've had to do some work. Hasn't changed the context. Haven't fake newsed it up, have you, Dom?
Not at all.
But we've tried to make it a little more playable, a little more palatable.
Exactly.
For broadcast play out. So, Dominic, your hard work, let's reward it. And, there's a big announcement today, Dom. I'm going to save it till the 4 o'clock hour. But this product, it's more resistant than ever. And I'll tell you what that means in the 4 o'clock hour. But let's get to it. Right?
Yes. Here we
Are
go.
we on the same page? We
Let's
didn't even knuckle
this.
up. Maybe that's the problem.
See, that's the
Boom.
problem. It's all,
Wonder Twin power activate.
Everyone's schedule's all off, but hey, we're going to roll through it. Let's listen to the conversation between President Donald Trump and Bob Woodward, the author of a new book that apparently is somewhat critical.
That was the Robert Redford character in All the President's Men, right?
Yeah, Dustin Hoffman.
No.
Bernstein. Yeah, Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman, right?
Yes, yes.
It's been a while. But let's hear the real man, Bob Woodward, calling President Donald Trump. Trump, of course, not interviewed for this. I wonder why. Cut 3, please, Brian.
Hello, Bob.
President Trump, how are you?
How are you? How you doing? Okay.
Real well. I'm turning
Good.
on my tape recorder
that's
with
okay.
your permission.
That's okay. I don't mind.
Sorry we missed the opportunity to talk for the book.
Well, I just spoke with Kellyanne, and she asked me if I got a call. I never got a call. I never got a message. Who did you ask about speaking to me?
Well, about 6 people.
Well, they don't tell me.
Senator. I talked to Kellyanne about it 2.5 months ago. She came for lunch.
Well, it's too bad. Of course, you and I had a conversation, a couple of years ago, and so that I think got you there a little bit. And we had a conversation many years ago, if you remember, in Trump Tower.
I did.
That has to be 20 years ago. And you were thinking about doing a book about me then, which is interesting. Who knew it would have been on this subject, right?
Yeah,
that was not in the cards at that time.
That's right. Well, I'm sorry.
I still remember that.
I spent a lot of time on this, talked to lots of people.
Right, good.
And as you know and are living, we're at a pivot point in history.
Right.
And I would have liked to have done that, and I maximized my effort.
Right.
And somehow it didn't get to you.
It's really too bad because nobody told me about it, and I would have loved to have spoken to you. You know I'm very open to you. I think you've always been fair, but we'll see what happens. But all I can say is the country is doing very well. We're doing better economically just about that at any time. We're doing better on unemployment maybe than ever. If you look at the unemployment numbers, you've heard me say it. And we're doing better on unemployment than just about ever. We're having a lot of companies are moving back into our country, which would have been unheard of 2 years ago. If the other administration or representatives of it had kept going, or if the other group had won, I will tell you that you would have. I think you'd have a GDP of less than 0. I think we would have been going in the wrong direction because. Regulations are such a big part of what we've done, Bob.
Well, I understand that point of view, and as you know, it's also a difficult time where the political system and you and my business is being tested.
Yeah.
And, I take it very seriously. I've done books on 8 presidents going back from Nixon, Obama.
Right.
And I learned something about reporting, frankly, Mr. President.
Good.
I've got to go talk to people and see them outside of the White House and outside of their offices, and gained a lot of insight and documentation. And it's it's a tough look at the world and your administration and you.
Right. Well, I assume that means it's going to be a negative book, but. I'm sort of 50% used to that.
Modestly
right. Some are
negative.
good and some are bad. Sounds like this is going to be a bad one.
It's a chance missed, and I don't know how things work over there in terms
Very well. Well, if you would call Madeline in my office, did you speak to Madeline?
Note to self, Madeline.
Madeline is the key. She's the secret because
she's the person. I talked to Kelly.
Well, a lot of them are afraid to come and talk, or they are busy.
What?
I'm busy. But I don't mind talking to you. I would have spoken to you. I spoke to you 20 years ago, and I spoke to you a year and a half or 2 years ago.
I understand.
And I certainly don't mind talking to you, and I wish I could have spoken to you.
Well,
but but nobody called my office. I mean, you went through, different people.
Mr. President, how can I spend?
It's almost
all
like he's
this
got
time
gatekeepers.
talking to people and like Kellyanne and Raj. And Republican senators. I mean,
who are the senators? No, they never called me about it.
Senator Graham said he had talked to you about talking to me. Now, is that not true?
Senator Graham actually mentioned it quickly on one meeting. And,
Nobody. I guess he did.
That is true. That is true. Well, but that is true. Mentioned it quickly, not like And I would certainly have thought that maybe you would call the office. But that's okay. I'll speak to Kellyanne. I am a little surprised that she wouldn't have told me.
Yeah,
in fact, she just walked in. I'm talking to Bob Woodward. He said that he told you about speaking to me, but you never told me. Why didn't you tell me? I would have been very happy to speak to him.
You're
All right,
fired.
so what are you going to do?
Well,
So I have another bad book coming out.
it goes on, and what you.
Now, doesn't this resemble the Omarosa conversation? Like, oh, I can't believe you got fired. We're such a big operation over here at the White House. Nobody told me.
I don't know how things are running over there. Things are running great. Okay, so he's having issues connecting to the president, right? Trying to get an interview, perhaps talk to Kellyanne, talk to Raj, hell, talk to some senators, talk to 7, 8 people. Trump's response, of course, out of context. Things are running great, but then he says a lot of them are afraid to come and talk. Well, what kind of environment
Should have talked
are
to
you
Madeline.
fostering? Right, Madeline?
Well, Raj is one of the communications directors, right? He's right below Sarah Huckabee, Colonel Sanders.
Well, no first daughter.
One must
but
presume Raj gets a few minutes of FaceTime with the president every now and again.
they're protecting him. They're shielding him or protecting us. I'm not quite clear.
Well, this conversation, separate of the book's called Fear. This conversation, though, yes, it's going to be a bad book for you, Mr. Trump. Just be honest with him, Woodward. Just say, yeah, you're not going to look very good. I don't think an interview would have changed the trajectory, though. Ultimately, let's play a little bit more of the Woodward-Trump interaction, if you would, Fancy Brian.
Is that I've been very careful. And Evelyn, are you on?
Yes.
Evelyn Duffy, who's my assistant, Mr.
Hello, Evelyn.
President, she transcribed all the tapes because, with permission, I tape people for hundreds of hours.
Good.
And I think there's
Lordy,
nothing
there's
in this
tapes.
book that doesn't come from a first-hand source. Is that correct, Evelyn?
I believe.
But are you naming names, or do you just say sources?
Yeah, well, it names real incidents, so...
No, but do you name sources? I mean, are you naming the people, or just say, people have said?
I say at 2 o'clock on this day, the following happened, and everyone who's there, including yourself, it is quoted. And I'm sorry I didn't get to ask you about these.
I mean, you do know I'm doing a great job for the country. You do know that NATO now is going to pay billions and billions of dollars more, as an example, than anybody
I had
thought
heard
possible,
rumor.
that other presidents were
Better
unable
ask
to
Ron
get
about that.
more, and it was heading downward. You do know all of the things I've done and things that I'm doing. I'm in the process of making some of the greatest trade deals ever to be made. You do understand
Just
that
ask
stuff.
Canada.
Sir,
I hope.
I understand, and I would have loved to go through a discussion with you about NATO, because this, goes back to early in your administration and your concern about it, and the agreement that the countries have that they would increase their defense contribution, by the year 2024. And, so anyway, we are...
Well, last year, if you see the Secretary Stoltenberg, he said, I believe $44 billion just last year, and that was from last year's meeting. And this year, it's much more money they've agreed to put up. So it's a tremendous amount of money. No other president has done it. It was heading down in the opposite direction. So I don't know if you're going to report it that way. Probably not. But
He's such a little bitch.
The president or Woodward?
I don't know if you're going to report it. Probably not, because, you don't like me. I mean, come on, Trump. I mean, you're going to act like this. At least have some callous on you.
Now, do you think that's the most important part of this conversation? I mean, Trump's obfuscating a little bit, brings Kellyanne out. I don't know how we missed that. Didn't Kellyanne, literally pipe up?
I think she comes on. Yeah, she'll come on. Listen, if we get to break here, we'll come back. Well, let's get to break, and we'll come back and play. We'll find the Kellyanne, make sure we get the right spot, and we'll play some Kellyanne. Because Kellyanne, Trump literally hands the phone over to Kellyanne to what? Bob, it just didn't work out. But yes, we had a conversation.
How many other people did you ask?
Yeah. Did you ask all the people who you interviewed for the book? That's what this is.
So what's the most
White
important
House
takeaway for people to take away? What's the takeaway?
It's chaos.
This show or the...
Can it be both?
Or the White House under Donald Trump? You know, there's only two of us and Fancy Brian, so that's like 2.5.
We don't screen our callers. Everyone can call. You know, Bob Woodward, you can call anytime.
844-967-2789. We're going to have a fine guest calling in about 3:30 Central Time. Sarah Pearson, Women's March Wisconsin co-chair, recent arrestee. Come back with us. More of the Bob Woodward Donald Trump tape. Dom thinks that this is important. I less so.
Boy, this looks like very big stuff.
When people try to sell books, they do all sorts of interesting, exotic things.
There has never been so many lies, so much deception. There has never been anything like it.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
The Earl Ingram Show. Join me at a new time, weekday mornings, for the Earl Ingram Show, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. on Real Resistance Radio, Monday through Friday, and as always, Saturdays noon to 3. The Earl Ingram Show, streaming live at realresistanceradio.com. Don't miss it. Voice of the voiceless, champion of the working class, the Earl Ingram Show.
I'll tell you what's going on.
The Devil's Advocates, the fix for political junkies everywhere.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Real Resistance Radio, streaming live on the YouTube and Facebook pages, on Twitter at Devil Radio, and the phone lines, toll-free, talk or text, 844-967-2789.
Dominic, I would jump to the excerpts from the Bob Woodward book, Fear. But you think this conversation between Woodward and Trump important? Something of a what? What sort of insights are we learning from this that we wouldn't know from talking about the book itself?
I think this conversation between Woodward and Trump just goes to show you how, to the degree of denial that this man lives in, the games that this man plays, the way he plays on his staff, blames everybody around him. It is just a reinforcement of what seems to be coming out in this book. We haven't read the entire book. CNN, or I believe Washington Post, got a transcript of it. Comes out next week. But let's hear some of the Kellyanne, because, of course, Trump throws Kellyanne on the phone. Let's see if we can get to that. Here's, again, a recording. This from August 14th, I believe,
Dom,
of this year between Bob Woodward and Donald Trump.
I like to think of you as my Kellyanne.
Play it, please.
Kellyanne.
Hey, Bob, how are you? Hi.
You remember 2.5 months ago you came over and I laid out, I wanted to talk to the president, and you said you would get back to me.
I do, and I put in the request. But, you know, it was rejected. I can only take it so far. I guess I can bring it right to the president next time. But I try to follow all the protocols, or else I'm accused of being somebody who doesn't follow protocol.
President Trump, I just want you to know I made every effort.
Did you? But you had talked to Hope, right, who said no?
Listen, I talked to anyone I could.
You talked to a number of people, and they all said no?
Raj, he was gonna work it out.
Hope, me.
Yeah.
So you said you tried to talking to everybody. What about when you interviewed like
Kellyanne,
other people?
you literally
said
no.
Yes?
Yeah, well,
that they tried?
Shocking.
About
I couldn't
6 or
get in.
7 people I tried, and I couldn't have, you and I spent a whole lunch on it, Kellyanne, and I said, I want to cover the substantive issues in foreign policy and domestic policy, and you said you would get back to me. Nothing.
Well, apparently,
so I did. I presented it to the people here who make those decisions. But,
getting back to him right
but
now.
anyway, I'll give you back to the president, and I'm glad to hear that you tried through 7 or 8 different people.
Yeah.
That's
what?
Good. You should tell them all the names.
And Trump is salty?
Thank you.
But you never called for me. It would have been nice, Bob, if you called for me in my office. I mean, I have a secretary. I have 2, 3 secretaries. If you would have called directly, a lot of people are afraid that Raj, I hardly have, I don't speak to Raj.
I don't even like Raj.
Kellyanne went to somebody, but she didn't come to me.
Well,
and she should have come to me.
Only go to
she does have access to
Kellyanne
me,
for
absolutely.
the
She has direct
alternative
access,
facts.
but she didn't come to me. And you know what? That's okay. I'll just end up with another bad book. What can I tell you?
It's surprising to me that these people, did Raj have access to you?
Not really, but he would have been able to do it. But I have an office. You have the office number. I have an office that's directly into my office. It doesn't matter. Let me tell you what matters. The economy is the best it's been in many, many decades, and it's going to get a lot better. And the country is doing very well. That's what's important.
Those are the important things. Not that you're running a crap show out of the White House. It's chaos. Now, either nobody knows what the hell's going on over there, or you did get notice and you decided not to talk to Bob Woodward. But now you don't like the fact that this book is out and apparently has some critical comments about you from your staff, and now you're getting salty?
Come back with us. Sarah Pearson, co-founder and co-chair of Women's March Wisconsin, recently released from a D.C. jail, calling into this fine product next. More Devil's Advocates, Real Resistance Radio.
Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Is my kid in the right car seat? I guess she is.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear facing, forward facing. I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
5 9, your local single-source IT solutions provider. Specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on Real Resistance Radio. Tune in Saturdays for Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk with Dr. Tim Slecker, 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the voice of the voiceless, champion of the working class. Earl Ingram's Saturday show is live from 12 to 3 p.m. From 3 to 4, it's State Rep Joe Costa Zamaripa hosting The Joe Costa Show, followed by The Dawn of the Resistance with Maggie Dawn, 4 to 6. Mandatory listening, always streaming at realresistanceradio.com.
For Real Resistance Radio, my name is Keith Gostad. In an open letter released Friday, Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice Shirley Abramson announced she has cancer and will likely hear arguments from a wheelchair this week. Justice Abramson was appointed to the court by Governor Patrick Lucey following the death of Chief Justice Horace Wilkie. She kept winning her seat in elections in 1979, 1989, 1999, and 2009. In her letter, Abramson wrote, quote, "The people of this state elected me to a position of public trust and responsibility, and I intend to keep that commitment. The election to replace Abramson is next April." Tuesday, high in the mid-80s, chance of isolated thunderstorms, overnight lows near 70. Wednesday, highs in the mid-70s with thunderstorms possible starting in the morning, continuing throughout the day. Overnight into Thursday, lows in the mid-50s. Thursday, highs near 70. For Real Resistance Radio, I'm Keith Gostad.
Lock her up, lock her up.
Charged, never convicted. Dom and Croat are the Devil's Advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. It's a Monday, but it feels, or a Tuesday that feels like a Monday. Definitely jamming us up a little bit here, trying to connect with Sarah Pearson, our friend. She is in D.C., had a busy day of protesting. Looks like she is called in. Let's bring her on the air here as soon as she's ready. Fancy Brian, you just give us the wink and the nod and the thumbs up. Sarah Pearson, co-founder and co-chair of the Women's March Wisconsin. Sarah, welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hey, Sarah.
Now, most kids are heading back to school. You're heading back to jail today, Sarah.
What'd you do?
Did you get arrested?
That is correct. Yes, I was already in jail today, and I'm out now.
All right.
But yes, if you watched the Brett Kavanaugh hearings that were taking place earlier in the day, or actually last I saw, Lindsey Graham was talking, potentially still going on. There were several protesters, I believe we're up to like over 45, who were arrested and taken out of the hearings.
And Sarah, what was your part? What did you say or do to merit arrest at the U.S. Capitol today?
Well, while Chuck Grassley was talking, I stood up and urged senators on the committee to vote no, because we have a president right now who's an unindicted co-conspirator or named an unindicted co-conspirator in a federal election crime, who is not elected by the majority of the American people, who's nominated the most unpopular Supreme Court nominee in recent history, whose views on Roe v. Wade are inconsistent with over 60% of Americans, and the decision is in the hands of a Republican Party that our intelligence community tells us was illegally aided in the last election by a foreign adversary. So I stood up and told them just that they don't have the information that they need to do this vote, and that this hearing shouldn't continue, frankly, because of the secrecy around that paperwork and the sort of cloud of scandal that's just around this administration right now, and the fact that the types of views that Brett Kavanaugh represents are not consistent with those of the American people and what we actually need right now.
Now, Sarah, Capitol Police, I would assume, were the arresters, you the arrestee. Did you get the zip cuffs? Did you get the real handcuffs? What was the arrest like, if I may ask?
Okay, so we got the zip cuffs, and we were sort of like whisked away. I think it was like two people who kind of carried me out, and that was kind of consistent for everyone across the board. Now, it was like a higher level of arrest than what you get like if you were just in a hallway. And actually, I'm outside of Senator Chuck Schumer's office right now, and we're gathering. So I apologize if you hear some noise, because that's what's going on right now. We're in the hallway, sort of making an appeal to him. But it's a little bit different than that when you're interrupting a hearing. But definitely important that we were there, getting our point across.
Folks, you are listening to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. We've got Sarah Pearson live via phone from D.C. She is the co-founder and co-chair Women's March Wisconsin. She is also an activist who got arrested at the Brett Kavanaugh hearing earlier today. Now, it wasn't just the protesters interrupting. It seemed like Grassley was getting flummoxed. The Democrats asked over and over and over again for a delay in this proceeding. Didn't seem like the Republicans wanted to delay the proceedings, but as you mentioned, a lot of information dumped just last night, like 42,000 new documents on Kavanaugh dropped overnight. Sarah, there's no possible way the Democrats have had a chance to vet this information. I think that was kind of the point, though. What do you think?
Well, absolutely, that was the point. I mean, their goal in this is, for this hearing to just go through and go forward, and for them to get the votes that they need without the American people really finding out who Brett Kavanaugh is and, what is contained in these documents that were just dumped on us, these documents that, the Judiciary Committee has never even seen. So it was obviously unfair, and I think I was, heartened to see at the beginning of the hearing that there were Democratic senators who were in there, demanding that the hearing not continue. At first I was like, they're doing our job for us, but I was glad to be able to sort of join them in unity, as an activist and with a group of activists in calling for that, because that is absolutely unacceptable. That those 42,000 documents were dumped on them at the last minute.
Well, Sarah, my understanding is there's still up to 100,000. Many documents still have not been released. What is it we can only surmise. Of course, no one has seen the documents, and it doesn't matter about the 400,000 that were released. We want to, of course, it's the ones that have not been released that give us pause for the great concern. Sarah, you want to speculate? What could we possibly be seeing, and is there any chance that any of this stuff will come to light?
Sure. I mean, obviously, there's a cloud around some of the things that took place in the Bush administration. And I mean, I think that it's like, documents from that time period that we're not seen. But even Senator Kamala Harris mentioned it today in the hearing, that there are things that are just kind of taped together, X'd out, like sort of the way that things are like redacted and reduced within the document set that they received. It's like clearly there are things that they don't want them to know about Brett Kavanaugh's history, and that would indicate the kind of judge that he will be if he makes it to our Supreme Court. So I think that's exactly what they're keeping secret, not just from the Senate Judiciary Committee, but from the American people.
Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican, South Carolina, today basically said that he thought that Brett Kavanaugh is a home run, just the kind of justice that should be impaneled on the Supreme Court. And in fact, harkened back to the prior statements of Hillary Clinton when a candidate, and Hillary Clinton said, yes, I have a litmus test. The litmus test is someone has to uphold Roe v. Wade. Now, he didn't say it specifically, Sarah, but my understanding is, well, the opposite litmus test, the willingness to overturn Roe v. Wade has been the standard set by Donald Trump. Want to get your opinion on the Republican Lindsey Graham's take. I realize you weren't in the room at the time, but what are your thoughts?
Sure. Well, I mean, I think for him, a home run is something that he can cross off his list, like got that, Supreme Court justice through. I don't think that he has, or that Senator Lindsey Graham has the best interest of, women who are in need of reproductive health care at the forefront of his mind as he's saying these things and he's making these decisions. So I think like that is why he would say something like that. So I've kind of puzzled, frankly, by a lot of the things Lindsey Graham has said lately, in contrast to the views he's formerly espoused, just related to the Trump administration. But yeah, exactly. I think the fact that this is something that that Trump would use as a litmus test is very telling. what his intention is, and I don't think we're going to see like specific statements and commitments from Kavanaugh related to any of this. Obviously, he's going to keep most of those in the dark because he doesn't want us to know, because he doesn't want to create that controversy. They just kind of want to slip him through and think that, we're not going to be here fighting against it.
Sarah,
is why we were here today.
Sarah, it doesn't seem to me that the American people have the will to relitigate Roe v. Wade. I know there is a minority, but this is beginning to feel like leadership by the minority. The Republicans did not have the majority of the votes, not in the presidency, not in a number of the House seats, and not clearly across the entirety of the Senate when you start talking about big states and little states. But want to get your opinion. If the American people don't want Roe v. Wade overturned by large majorities, why do you think it is that they're so adamant to push through candidates and panel justices that reflect the viewpoint of the minority?
Well, I mean, I think that it'll give them sort of that, it will make it look like, oh, we're getting something done, that they did this. And now I've seen a poll that 63% of Americans, support Roe v. Wade and, agree with it the way that it is right now. And so overwhelmingly, Americans would like it to stay the way it is. Now, I don't think that like a Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court would mean that Roe v. Wade is instantly overturned. I think we talked about this last week, that what we're seeing instead is, that it's being gutted, that little by little, some of those rights and freedoms are being chipped away. And I think that's exactly what we'd expect to see, just sort of like a slow reduction of our rights, and the fact that the next generation of American women will not have, if Brett Kavanaugh is our next Supreme Court justice, the next generation of American women will not enjoy the same rights and freedoms as American women enjoy today.
Well, Sarah, I certainly appreciate your efforts, but I'm not sure if it's a when Brett Kavanaugh gets impaneled on the U.S. Supreme Court. We don't have the votes, and this might be a little bit theatrical, at least from the perspective of those that realize we don't have the votes to stop Kavanaugh. Sarah, how do you respond to that? I mean, is this just theater on some level?
Sure, and that may be true. And obviously, I think we talked about this last week too, that I definitely feel like an immense amount of anxiety and sadness related to this nomination and these hearings, because I do, understand that the votes are, likely there for his confirmation. But that being said, I think that myself, in looking back to Merrick Garland's nomination, I have a lot of regret that we weren't doing this and pressuring Senate leadership to move forward with that nomination. And I can't imagine the way I would feel knowing that Brett Kavanaugh was on the Supreme Court and we did nothing. We did nothing to attempt to stand in the way. And at least we're here looking our senators in the eye as we're going into these hearings and letting them know if they vote yes on his nomination, they will be held accountable. In November this year, in 2020, in 2022, we won't forget the way they voted on this one.
Sarah Pearson, co-founder and co-chair Women's March Wisconsin. She's become a friend of ours. Sarah, please don't get arrested again today. We appreciate your efforts, though.
I can't make any promises, Mike. Can't make any promises.
Nor can we.
Thank you, Sarah.
Sarah Pearson, thank you so much. We are the Devil's Advocates. We'll open up the phone lines. They're always toll-free to you. 844-967-2789.
There is nobody that respects women more than I do.
I alone can fix it.
Hi, my name is Shantae, your local Hyatt pharmacist. With more than 10 locations here in the Milwaukee area, we're here to simplify your lives one script at a time. With free delivery to your home or work, where all your medications are brought together in one convenient dosage packaged, individualized to your daily medication regimen. We set up in-house calls with the licensed pharmacist to assist in medication management. We accept all insurance plans. To learn more about Hyatt, visit us at our website, HAYATRX.com.
I'm Andy Buck, Field Representative with Painters and Allied Trades of Wisconsin. It's an issue that brings constant challenges for building contractors. How to find qualified painters, glazers, and drywall finishers. IUPAT knows what you want. A professional job performed by skilled workers who care about safety, training, and finishing strong. Workers who are reliable and ready on demand. Let IUPAT provide the people power that you need. You'll feel confident the job is finished right. Connect at IUPATDC7.com and finish strong.
I would like to thank you, President Trump. I also want to express my thanks to government workers.
Foxconn CEO Terry Goh is thankful to the Republicans who delivered his $4.5 billion in corporate welfare.
Thank you to Foxconn.
Scott Walker thanks the foreign corporation who received the largest corporate welfare subsidy in history.
Thank you, Mr. President.
What about thanking the hardworking Wisconsin taxpayers you saddled with a generation of debt for a project that may never be paid back?
People should be rushing to me and patting my back and say, hey, thank you, Mr. Foxconn.
Call Governor Scott Walker at 608-266-1212 and tell him no thank you to corporate welfare, no thank you to environmental rollbacks, no thank you to a project that may never be paid back, no thank you to Foxconn. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
The Devil's Advocates. Never personal, only politics.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Real Resistance Radio. Phone lines are open, 844-967-2789.
Dominic, thank you to Sarah Pearson, co-founder, co-chair, Women's March Wisconsin, for joining us live via phone from D.C. A recent release from jail. Free Sarah!
Crudy the Hill reporting. Senator Orrin Hatch, a Republican from Utah, snapped at protesters who interrupted the first day of hearings for Brett Kavanaugh's Supreme Court nomination on Tuesday, arguing the committee should not have to speak over their insolence.
Silence! I will not tolerate your insolence.
I don't know that the committee should have to put up with the type of insolence taking place in this room today, Hatch said to the committee chairman as protesters shouted over Hatch's speech supporting Kavanaugh's confirmation. Hatch referred to one individual as a loudmouth and said the person should be removed. Mr. Chairman, I think we ought to have this loudmouth removed, Hatch said to Senate Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley, drawing laughter from the committee room.
I hope he doesn't reference our young friend Sarah Pearson.
Hatch, a former chairman of the Judiciary Committee, added that we shouldn't have to put up with this kind of stuff. I hope she's not a law student. Protesters continued to interrupt Hatch as he spoke, appearing to be protesting from several spots in the packed committee room. Kavanaugh is not to be trusted to keep an eye on the executive branch, another protester screamed from the back of the room. Hatch raised his voice and continued speaking over the protesters. Another group of protesters chanted, "No, no, no," and "Show us the records," prompting another round of backlash from Hatch, who appeared visibly annoyed. Ooh. Hatch added that the protesters were so out of line they shouldn't even be allowed into the doggone room. Doggone room. Ooh.
Easy, big fella.
He's visibly annoyed. But Grassley dismissed Hatch's questions about protesters, saying he would depend on the Capitol Police to do their job of removing individuals disrupting the hearing. More than 20 protesters who were there to criticize Kavanaugh were arrested earlier in the hearing, according to Capitol Police. Senator Patrick Leahy, a Democrat who spoke next, appeared to align himself with Hatch, noting he wouldn't continue speaking if protesters interrupted him. I don't care whose side they're on. Get those damn kids off my lawn.
You often interrupt me. Let me read briefly from a Paul Waldman piece. Yeah, you do what you got to do. The GOP's contempt for democracy is on full display At the Kavanaugh confirmation hearing on Tuesday, Democrats in the Senate attempted to take control of the first day of confirmation hearings for Judge Brett Kavanaugh's nomination to the Supreme Court, and the result was chaos, or at least what passes for chaos in the context of a Judiciary Committee hearing.
Doggone it.
Meaning senators politely interrupting each other and raising their objections in measured tones. But this was unusual because the Democrats implemented an uncharacteristically coordinated strategy, a strategy from Democrats.
That is uncharacteristic.
To stop the confirmation hearing as it began. Their objection centered on the Trump administration's refusal to release tens of thousands of pages of documents from Kavanaugh's time as a government lawyer, and the fact that just last night 42,000 pages of documents were finally turned over to the committee. The idea that the senators could have reviewed them before this morning was ludicrous, so Democrats demanded a delay in the hearings, one after the other, in a series of motions and objections. They repeatedly interrupt the committee chair, Senator Charles E. Grassley from Iowa, who seemed flummoxed by the Democrats' refusal to simply let him keep the proceedings moving along. Senator John Cornyn, mustering all the outrage he could, called it mob rule. This is all theater, of course, but it's important theater because the stakes are impossibly high. The Republican strategy on Kavanaugh's nomination is clear: to make these confirmation hearings as boring, free of substance, and as brief as possible, so Kavanaugh can be confirmed with the public barely realizing it happened. As they have in previous Supreme Court nominations, Republicans are mounting a campaign of deception in order to propagate the falsehood that Kavanaugh has no ideological beliefs other than a commitment to the sanctity of the Constitution. He will be purely objective, calling balls and strikes. Not only will he not answer questions about issues that might come before the court, there's not much point in anyone else debating those issues either. All they care about is that he's a man of qualifications and integrity. This is utter nonsense, just as it was when they played the same game for the confirmation of Gorsuch, John Roberts, Samuel Alito, and Clarence Thomas, the conservatives with whom Kavanaugh will launch a radical revolution in American law, a revolution that will affect all of our lives. Ironically, the only person in the GOP who's remotely honest about this fact is President Trump, who said forthrightly during the campaign that he'd appoint justices who would vote to overturn Roe v. Wade, Dom.
But that's only the beginning. How far will it go? Having already gutted the Voting Rights Act, they could eliminate almost all campaign finance law, as Richard Hazen explains. They could strip the government of its ability to enforce laws against discrimination. They could continue to enhance the power of corporations at the expense of workers. They could strike down any limits on gun proliferation. They could strike down future legislation passed by a Democratic Congress and signed by a Democratic president on health care, or regulation of Wall Street, or environmental protections, or virtually any subject they choose. And of particular relevance to our current moment, they could declare that the president must be immune from any legal accountability regarding his corruptions or misdeeds, so long as the president is a Republican. Not only could they do these things, and they almost certainly will, the closest thing to a swing vote on the court will be Chief Justice Roberts, who only looks like something less than the conservative ideologue he is because he sits beside unrestrained radicals such as Alito and Thomas. There is a simple reason Republicans want to do everything they can to conceal that agenda and pretend that Kavanaugh will be, as he will say later today in his opening statement, a neutral and impartial arbiter who doesn't decide cases based on personal or policy preferences. It's because they know how unpopular that agenda is with the public. But they'll carry it out anyway for a simple reason: because they can. As I have explained before, we are living in an age of minority rule in which the system allows the Republican Party to control the presidency, the House, and Senate, even at times when it has won fewer votes for all three. Despite the fact that Democrats have won the popular vote in 6 of the past 7 presidential elections, 5 of the 9 seats on the Supreme Court will have been filled by Republican presidents. And in Kavanaugh's case, a justice appointed by a president who got fewer votes than his opponent will be confirmed by a group of Republicans who hold a slim majority, despite the fact that in elections for the current Senate, 15 million more votes were cast for Democrats than for Republicans.
So a little more here.
There is one final
Take
reason.
a deep breath. You can get to the end.
I'm getting a little wired up here.
Fire up!
There is one final reason Democrats have every right to be outraged that Republicans are trying to sail Kavanaugh's nomination through with the smallest amount of scrutiny possible. The only reason he will be able to move the court so dramatically to the right if he is confirmed is that Senate Republicans stole a Supreme Court seat, refusing to allow Judge Merrick Garland to even get a hearing, let alone a vote, when he was nominated by President Barack Obama to fill a vacancy in 2016. So spare us their huffing and puffing about Democratic obstruction. Democrats could glue the doors to the Judiciary Committee's hearing room shut, and it would not even be a fraction of as offensive to democracy or the Constitution as that despicable act, which was supported not just every Republican senator, but by the entire Republican Party. If we lengthen Kavanaugh's confirmation process by a day or a week so we can discuss the implications of his nomination in some more detail, it'll be more than worth the trouble.
So writes Paul Waldman, opinion writer at the Washington Post, The Plum Line. You're kind of fired up,
I mean, this wasn't that long ago, Crudy. I got a little resin on the brain, perhaps. My memory comes and goes.
Just a little.
But I remember Merrick Garland, and what did Senator Ron Johnson say? Not
during a presidential year. Oh, the other day he said effectively, we can block it and you can't.
And you can't.
That's the only political logic I need. We can do it and you can't stop us.
Exactly. So all the rest of the words and he's this and he's that, it doesn't even matter. It's their guy. They can jam it through. And regardless of the efforts of fine patriots like Sarah Pearson and other people protesting, I wish some of those Democratic senators would stand up and get a little feisty and say something a little more harsh than doggone it. Let's remember where we came from.
Doggone it. Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. Going to have 2 more big hours of Dom ranting and raving, apparently.
I didn't know I was so mad.
Nor I. Come back with us, 844-967-2789. You can always call or text us here. Yeah, get rid of those. You can always join us. We'll get to the phones next. And in the next hour, we're going to ask you to just do it. What's that mean exactly? Well, I'll tell you. A more resistant, Real Resistance Radio, Devil's Advocates. Come back on the other side. 2 angry soldiers, Dom and Crute, making messes. Our moms, they'd be proud, I think.
Heavy glow. By the way, I tried to say I'd be there, waiting for.
Democracy matters, especially when it is inconvenient.
I have just received word that the Emperor has dissolved the council permanently. The last remnants of the old republic have been swept away.
Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We've got a patented system. We also do another step that most people don't do. We have a double rotating brush machine that we use when we pre-treat the carpet. So this helps dig up any of that stuff that's deeper in your carpet that the vacuum doesn't get. We're going to provide that intermediary step before we clean with our empowered water.
Call Zero Res today, 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
The Packing House, open every day of the year for dinner, including all holidays. Family owned and operated since 1974, lunch Monday through Friday, live music Wednesday through Saturday. Enjoy steaks, ribs, seafood, fish fries, and prime rib. Easy access from anywhere, across from the airport on Layton. Find us online, packinghousemke.com, or give us a call, 414-483-5054.
You are listening to Real Resistance Radio, WRRD 1510 AM Waukesha and WTTN 1580 AM Columbus. Always streaming at realresistanceradio.com.
Woodward Book, White House Response. I'm Mike Moss. A blistering account of the Trump White House in a new book from Bob Woodward. Former White House lawyer John Dowd is said to have conducted a practice Mueller interview with the president, then told the special counsel that the president cannot testify because he would perjure himself. Correspondent Jeff Zeleny on Dowd's reaction.
There was no so-called practice session or reenactment of a mock interview at the special counsel's office.
Further, I did not refer to the president as a liar, and I did not say he was likely to end up in an orange jumpsuit.
The White House says the book is made up of stories from disgruntled employees. Day one of confirmation hearings for Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh was full of protest and partisanship. Tomorrow, Kavanaugh will begin answering questions.
Democrats hinted their questions will be aimed at drawing out if Kavanaugh has a loyalty to the president who nominated him. And retiring Republican Jeff Flake of Arizona even read the president's Labor Day tweet, taking Attorney General Sessions to task for the Justice Department indicting two of the president's earliest supporters in the House.
Jeff Sessions has resisted pressure from the president to punish his enemies and relieve pressure on his friends. Many of the questions that you will get on the other side of the aisle and from me will be how you view that relationship.
One backdrop of the hearing is how the country may face Supreme Court showdowns regarding executive power and the Mueller investigation. Bob Costantini, Capitol Hill.
The president tweets of the Kavanaugh hearing how mean, angry, and despicable the other side is. Tropical storm Gordon could become a hurricane before making landfall tonight. Ken Graham, director of the National Hurricane Center.
Mainly along the immediate beaches of the Mississippi coast, some of the barrier islands, and also where that water gets trapped and can't go anywhere. Biloxi Bay and over towards Bay St. Louis. Those are some of the areas that we can see it.
The Coast Guard has closed 3 ports in the area. On Wall Street, the Dow closed down 12, S&P down 4. I'm Mike Moss.
All workers benefit from unions, as unions create the highest standard in wages, health and welfare, retirement security, and workplace protections. Hello, this is Tom Bennett, President of Teamsters General Local 200. Your voice is your strength. The ability to build a stronger and better tomorrow begins today. Teamsters Local 200 represents workers in numerous industries, and our team is ready to sit down with you and your co-workers to build your unified team. Call Teamsters Local 200 at 414-771-6363 or visit us on Facebook or www.teamsterslocal200.com.
Hi, this is Kristen, inviting you to join the Resistance. Our loyal and engaged audience will become your greatest advocates and customers. To get started or to find out more, click the sponsorship tab at realresistanceradio.com or email me, KRISTIN, at realresistanceradio.com to get started now. Let the Resistance fight for you.
In a sign that the financial health of NASCAR may be in trouble, last year's NASCAR champions are going out of business. Correspondent John Stolness with more.
Furniture Row Racing has announced they are shutting it down just 1 year after Martin Truex Jr. won the NASCAR Cup Series championship. Furniture Row Racing is a bit of an anomaly in the sport, a racing team with just one car. They're also based in Denver, halfway across the country from the sports hub in North Carolina. Team owner Barney Visser said they simply weren't able to make enough money to stay in business and that he would have to borrow money to field a competitive team in 2019. Truex is contending for his second straight title for the NASCAR team, with the playoffs getting underway next week. I'm John Stolness.
Nike shares fell about 3% today as the company faced backlash in picking Colin Kaepernick to take part in a new ad campaign. Kaepernick was the first NFL player to kneel for the anthem in protest at an NFL game. I'm Mike Moss.
If you're Five9's, your local single-source IT solutions provider. Specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy five9s.com.
Looking for a job worth talking about? Teaching is creative, collaborative, and intellectually challenging. See why teachers have better work stories at teachdfw.org and learn more about becoming a teacher. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
I'm jumping in with my clothes on.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm Jesse Pika-Holz with Solidarity Realty. If you're looking for a home in Madison or Dane County, call me. I know Madison. I know homes. I'll protect your best interests. Call Solidarity Realty at 608-284-9311 or search solidarityrealty.com.
For Real Resistance Radio, my name is Keith Gosted. Residents in Superior, Wisconsin have filed a class action lawsuit against Husky Energy. The lawsuit is in response to a series of fires and an explosion that occurred at the company's oil refinery back in April. Milwaukee County Assistant District Attorney Ron Dagg was killed in a single-engine plane crash in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan Friday. The crash happened on August 31st as Dagg's plane was heading into Mackinac County Airport. Wreckage and debris was found in Lake Huron. Dagg was the only person on board. And as rain continues to fall, Lake Monona is at record levels. Overnight on Sunday, the lake reached 7.5 inches above the 100-year flood elevation. The Brewers beat the Cubs 4-3 yesterday thanks to Kristen Yelich beating the throw on a fielder's choice ground ball. The Crew is now 4 games behind the division-leading Cubs. For Real Resistance Radio, I'm Keith Gosted.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, Hour 2. Dom, I celebrated this morning, put the kids on the bus. Went back to bed for like 20 minutes, half an hour.
Nice. How'd that feel?
Good. It felt outstanding. I've been looking forward to this day all summer long. The boys less so, although they were good boys. They got their asses out of bed and got up and they were ready before I was this morning. I was not the first one up in the house for a change.
Back to school. Time for some of that edumacation.
Back to school. Back to paying attention to politics. What do we got? 2 months till a midterm election, the most important election of all time.
It's always the case.
I'm not clear that it has always been the case. This one, I think, is perhaps more important than some of the prior elections because of Donald Trump.
But don't people say it all the time? Have you ever heard an election where somebody hasn't said it?
Well, sure, some candidate, someone in the election, this voting for me is your most important duty of all time.
Yes.
Calling the Devil's Advocates and having something to say, perhaps your most important duty today. 844-967-2789. Let's get to the phones. Let's start with Cassandra from Middleton. Hey, Cassandra, welcome back.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. I just have 2 points to make about the judicial nominees. The first point I would like to talk about is President Obama, and no one really wants to criticize him over the actions that he took in selecting Merrick Garland. What Obama did is he went to Orrin Hatch and he asked Orrin Hatch who give him the name of a judicial nominee that could pass through the Senate. And of course, if you're asking Orrin Hatch, it's going to be a Republican or Republican light judicial nominee. What Obama should have done when Mitch McConnell refused to bring his nominee to the floor, or he threatened not to give his nominee a hearing, I think what Obama should have done is he should have nominated someone who would really motivated the base. And if he had put an African American female up, there would have been a firestorm because that individual would have been the first to sit on the high court. He would have mobilized African American females. He would have motivated progressives. I lay the blame at his feet. Obama, he was a very nice man. I personally like him. But as a political strategist, he was horrible, just horrible. Now, my second point.
Nobody's disagreed with you yet, Cassandra. What about the idea of a recess appointment? My memory serves, Obama had it within his power to impanel some justice on the Supreme Court would have seemed, unnecessarily abrupt at the time, but in retrospect, seems like a good idea, doesn't it?
You know what? I have to tell you something. I'm an African-American female, and, there are times when, what we call in the neighborhood, when Obama should have released the dog in him. When Mitch McConnell told him, a black man, I am not going to allow you to exercise your rights of the presidency, all hell should have broken loose over Mitch McConnell. And that's Obama's fault. That really is. He did not defend his authority as president. And, and I know I'm going to get some Obama people calling in saying how harsh I am, but that's my opinion. Now, my second point that I would like to get to, if I may, if you have time.
Sure. For you, we have time, Cassandra.
Okay. We have lost the Kavanaugh nominee. He's going to get appointed to the seat. What the Democrats could do, but they don't have a backbone to do it, is that they can amend Title 28 of the U.S. Code, which allows administrative oversight or authority by Congress over the federal courts, and that even includes the Supreme Court. What they could do is amend Title 28, and they can make some changes, and Kavanaugh, all of those circuit courts and district courts that have been appointed and approved by the Senate, they can reassign them to different places. They can reassign them to other courts. You can't strip them of their judicial title. However, there is no requirement in the Constitution that they have to hear particular cases. That's something that can be done, and I hope if there are any judicial scholars out there or attorneys, they can talk about Title 28. That's the way I think the Democrats need to go. And they need to say to Susan Collins, you know what, if you vote for Kavanaugh, make it very upfront to them. You vote for Kavanaugh, if we redesignate the courts, we are going to put Alaska and Maine under those red state Republican judges, and your people are going to pay the consequences of it. So there's something that...
Sort of a literal backbenching, if you will.
They have no backbone. That's why I'm furious with them.
Now, I appreciate the call, Cassandra. Thank you very much. I had not heard about this Article 28 proposition. I have heard the concept, all the Democrats should flee town. Right? You've heard that statement.
Yes.
Leave town, don't give them quorum.
Right.
But I don't know that we have the votes. Even if we left town, they could still derive quorum with or without us. They just need Pence's ass, right?
And this is such a sensitive time for this country.
And for those that would say John McCain, John Kyle, the former senator from Arizona, has been named as a replacement for John McCain. That will happen very rapidly.
If the worst comes to pass with Trump, everything he touched, in my position, is tainted. If this guy literally worked with foreign adversaries and the magic bullet is found, we know there's no question.
Fruit of the poison presidency.
And everything that happened subsequent to then is illegitimate. And I think there is a legitimate question. Again, we don't know what the facts are yet with Mueller. We don't, even when Mueller releases a report or whatever Mueller does, it's going to be challenged. But if there is to be a majority in this country that looked at this situation after Mueller completes his investigation and said, yes, this is the problem, what do we do with all... it's not that. There's other federal judges that have been appointed by Trump as well. How do we address those issues? And maybe the title...
I'm not clear that we have the ability to address those issues. Not in the way we would like to, not in a satisfactory way. There's judges being impaneled all across the United States. I think people forget that the Republicans didn't just obstruct one impaneling of a Supreme Court justice. They kept seats open for years. Think about the Wisconsin seat on the 7th Circuit. Would Ron Johnson hold out 6 years or more
All right,
to keep that vacancy?
Fair enough, and you can.
So
deal
what are
with
you
that
going to do about it?
that's
There's
within
nothing
the
to
context,
do about it.
Because it's different because you didn't have Russians interfering in it, Crudy. Trump or Ron Johnson would have done that regardless of whether or not Trump worked with foreign adversaries, perhaps committed treason. If that were to be the case, Crudy, everything that he did, every decision he made, every meeting, every contract, every trade deal he did, we have to look at it. What is our redress for a treasonous president who got there through subversion and treason?
I'm not clear that there is redress other than impeachment of the president, and I'm not even clear that we could achieve that goal even if we win the House, and I think it's
wrong answer.
Better than it.
That's the wrong answer.
It's not the answer you want to hear.
There's got to be something.
Why didn't we do that with Merrick Garland then? Sarah Pearson made an excellent point. Why weren't we up there challenging the last Supreme Court justice, the seat that was stolen? I'm not sure the American people would do anything more than put a angry face on Facebook, Dom. Marching in the streets? Yeah, I saw that. Women's March, about 1 million people. Places all around the nation. We happened to be in D.C. that day. But above and beyond that, what has gotten the American people up with a proper response? And I'm not clear what you do because, let's say, Trump's a traitor, and I think he is. But that does not make...
That makes everything he touched.
Well, you'd like to think that, but
yes.
how do you turn back the clock?
Convince everybody else. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Are you wrong? Are you wrong on that, Crudy?
I'm never wrong. You can't even convince Trump voters, right? You can't convince them that the world is round. You can't convince people that climate change is going on. There's plenty of stuff that people will just fight tooth and nail. The cognitive dissonance is strong amongst the Republicans.
A traitorous president and the results thereof, Crudy, that we have never dealt with that before. That a unique circumstance like that makes a cause for unique redress. You can't just let it pass if that's the case.
You got Republican senators like Lindsey Graham that led the impeachment on Bill Clinton that are now implying or saying it's okay to go fire the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions. Go fire him.
Sessions wouldn't even be Attorney General if Trump didn't play with the Russians, Crudy. That's the point.
You know what Trump says about Jeff Sessions?
He's retarded.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Wow.
Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. I'll try not to say that about you. 844-967-2789.
I will do anything it takes to win.
I support both the action and the objective.
Somebody said treasonous. I mean, yeah, I guess why not?
I don't think we are wrong.
Hey, folks. Sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Melissa from Michigan. I work an extra part-time job serving lunch at my child's school, but I still can't afford to put food on our table.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Ignacio, what do you got for us today?
Hey, I quit paying attention for like maybe one day, and all hell breaks loose. That goes to show me I got to pay attention every single day to your radio program, or else who knows what'll happen.
If you don't listen to the Devil's Advocates 3 hours every day, Nacho, you're missing a lot.
You got that right. I just learned that today. I turned it on and I'm listening, and you really just rocked my world today. I was just totally blown away.
Save the $2 on tomorrow's paper. Listen to the Devil's Advocates today.
Totally blown away.
The Devil's Advocates, because it's always 420 somewhere.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you so much for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Real Resistance Radio, streaming on YouTube and Facebook. You can hit us up on Twitter at Devil Radio. And, of course, the phone line's toll-free. Talk or text 844-967-2789.
Let's say hi to Betsy. Betsy, welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. What do you got for us today?
Hello, gentlemen.
Hey, Betsy.
Hello, Betsy.
Well, I respectfully disagree with Cassandra. Barack Obama was the best president in my lifetime, as far as I'm concerned. He had obstruction all the way, this do-nothing Congress. This is a fight for good and evil, and people better wake up. I mean, they are setting it. This illegitimate president is going to appoint 2 Supreme Court justices on a lifetime? No, we were all just not paying attention when Barack was running the show, because he was running the show, and he was doing right.
Yeah, I'd love to get back to boring governance. I don't think Cassandra said he was a bad president. She said that his strategery was awful.
He should have appointed a black justice.
Well, instead he did not get the right...
Obama was playing ball.
No, he wasn't. I got to agree with Cassandra. If he was playing ball, the same way the Republicans play ball, he'd have another Supreme Court justice impaneled. I mean, Donald Trump has faced a lot of obstruction, quote unquote, but let me finish.
Trudy, no, let me just get my point across.
All right, do it. Okay,
I had no idea when John McCain was running against Barack Obama. I mean, oh my God, you won't believe it. I cannot believe all the racists that have come out of this woodwork since Trump has come in, and they blame Palin for it. I mean, my God. I mean, there was something just wicked stirring up in this country that I had no idea. And then we get Scott Walker, and he's a racist. I mean, oh my God. I can't believe what's happening to this country.
Thank you for the call, Betsy. We always do appreciate it. I understand Cassandra's point. I mean, if
I think she
Barack
made excellent points.
Obama would have appointed a black or minority female judge for the Supreme Court, and the Republicans did what they did, perhaps there would have been greater pushback, more motivation to stand the Republicans down on that. But I'm not clear that would matter either way. No matter what, Crudy, when you got the numbers, you don't need the philosophy. Ron Johnson said so 2 weeks ago on this very show.
And if you recall, at least for a brief time in history, Barack Obama had the numbers. Barack Obama could have jammed whatever in the hell he wanted to down the throats of Republicans. And that wasn't how he chose to govern. Right? He spent a lot of political capital on the ACA Obamacare. He involved the Republicans in the process and then didn't garner a single Republican vote. And in fact, cost us up-teen elections, thousands of elections on the state house level. I mean, these Republicans are very good at running against Barack Obama. What they're for, I can't tell you exactly, but they did a hell of a job running against Barack Obama. And you could say, oh, Barack Obama, they obstructed everything. No doubt. Just like we are trying to do to Donald Trump, yet he is still succeeding. He keeps winning on a number of levels, including Supreme Court seats. How is it that Donald Trump is able to force feed us a Supreme Court justice, but we couldn't do the same when we controlled it? Well, some of that's the actions of the leader. If Barack Obama had been a stronger leader, I don't mean a worse president, I mean a stronger leader, a guy who asserted his authority like you often do, then maybe this country would be in a better position. Instead, we let the Wall Street scoundrels basically off scot-free. We never prosecuted the torture under the George W. Bush administration, right?
Turn the page, move
along. Turn the page, move along. Well, they never moved along. And we, many of the American people, we never quite embraced the presidency of Barack Obama, because he didn't really do the right thing. He never made the last corrupt generation of Republicans suffer a consequence. And we, the American people, we suffered through a recession and nobody went to jail. So yeah, I think I think Cassandra makes excellent points. Barack Obama could have been a stronger leader, not as conciliatory. The apology tour, it was an apology tour, but he should apologize to the American people for being so damn decent. I mean, he was a decent man, and it was his undoing. And Donald Trump, there is no decency about that man, and he is quite strong and wrong, but he is strong, and he's getting what he wants, and he is winning on some level over the American people, over the will of the American people. The minority is dictating to the majority of Americans their will to them. That's strength. Not in a good way, but that's strength.
Well, it's victory in the short run, Crudy, but perhaps in the long run they lose. If people, you cannot, when you have 22% of people of voters, registered voters, turn out for an election. I mean, we don't deserve
midterms and
the state of Wisconsin.
Partisan primary in the state of Wisconsin.
That's terrible, and that's a historically decent number, and that is atrocious. We deserve it, man. Nobody gives a damn. No one cares. Everyone's busy. I'm so busy. I don't know. I can't read this stuff. I got other things to do. And granted, you and I do this as a job, but we were always interested in this prior to.
A job implies pay, but please continue.
We were always interested in politics and society and philosophy, Crudy, ever since we met each other back in college all those many years ago. Now, I'm not saying I was dialed in, and I went out and I made my effort. I voted, and we talked politics. But it takes effort from the people of the country, from the citizens, from the voters. They got to try. You got to make an effort. And, of course, what do we get? We get headwind from the Republicans and the conservatives, limiting access to the polls. Once those ballots are printed, why can't someone, when they find it in their time during the day, go cast the vote? So that is why we are ruled by the minority. But, until that threshold is met, and it's different for everybody, we will continue to get bent over by the Republicans, by a guy like Trump, with or without Russia's help, and have to deal with these situations. Where's the motivation? Where is the passion from the voters in this country?
Democrats could overwhelm at the ballot box. We could take control over our country. We could win back the House. Theoretically, we could win the Senate. And, of course, we could take back the presidency through the impeachment process. And ask me, how many of those things do you think the Democrats will accomplish?
How many, Crute?
Maybe none. Maybe none. Come back with us. It's depressing. That's what we're here for. We'll cheer you up. 844-967-2789. More Devil's Real Resistance Radio.
Let me just say, they are a breath of fresh air.
So thank you.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on Real Resistance Radio. Tune in Sundays for Meet the Press with Chuck Todd from 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the Jeff Santos Show, kicking ass for the middle class from 12 to 3 p.m. And Citizen Action's Battleground Wisconsin rages from 3 to 4 p.m. Get your groove on with Stu Man PM, politics and music, 4 to 6 p.m. with Stu Daniels. Mandatory listening, always streaming at realresistanceradio.com.
Well, back in my day, we didn't build walls, we tore them down. That's why I listen to Real Resistance Radio. What's a firewall?
Ever worry that the anonymous millionaires are setting the agenda for our community with little or no accountability? I do. That's why I joined Citizen Action Organizing Co-op. My fellow members and I want to build a powerful and lasting progressive movement. Together, we can help determine the agenda in our own communities. Then we work with professional organizers and a team of leading strategists to make that agenda happen. We're working on health care, economic justice, child poverty, electing progressive candidates, and more. And our Radioactive campaign supports this station and the Resistance Radio Network. So, won't you come help us build a movement?
Become a member of the Citizen Action Organizing Co-op. Go to citizenactionwy.org.
On marijuana, unfortunately, as a public health issue and a public safety issue, I've opposed that.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta, how can medical marijuana help those addicted to opioids?
There's three big things. There's clear consensus now that cannabis can treat pain. That is not an opinion. That is a consensus conclusion by big scientific bodies like the National Academy of Science. We also know that it can help treat the withdrawal symptoms of opioids. People, they don't want to be on them anymore. They want to quit, but they develop the terrible withdrawal symptoms. And now we have evidence that it can actually help heal the part of the brain that is diseased in someone who's an opioid addict. If you had to start from scratch and design a substance to help lead us out of the opioid epidemic, like in a lab, it would probably look very much like cannabis.
Call Governor Scott Walker at 608-266-1212. Tell him good people do smoke marijuana. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
For Real Resistance Radio, my name is Keith Gosted. In an open letter released Friday, Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice Shirley Abramson announced she has cancer and will likely hear arguments from a wheelchair this week. Justice Abramson was appointed to the court by Governor Patrick Lucey following the death of Chief Justice Horace Wilkie. She kept winning her seat in elections in 1979, 1989, 1999, and 2009. In her letter, Abramson wrote, quote, "The people of this state elected me to a position of public trust and responsibility, and I intend to keep that commitment." The election to replace Abramson is next April. Tuesday, high in the mid-80s, chance of isolated thunderstorms, overnight lows near 70. Wednesday, highs in the mid-70s with thunderstorms possible starting in the morning, continuing throughout the day. Overnight into Thursday, lows in the mid-50s. Thursday, highs near 70. For Real Resistance Radio, I'm Keith Gosted.
The Devil's Advocates, because freedom.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. You remember this commercial, Dom?
You dream, Curdy, that you're like Mike. You are Mike.
I am Mike. Be like Mike.
You are a Mike.
Why do I bring this up?
Why?
Similar, harkening back to the, 1980s ad campaign? Late 80s, perhaps. Think 30 years ago-ish. About the time I graduated high school. People, there is a new ad campaign, and this one took some cojones, to my opinion. Just Do It, starring Colin Kaepernick. What do you think of this idea, Dom? Colin Kaepernick's been a lightning rod, of course, and Colin Kaepernick is the new Nike slogan, Just Do It guy.
Former San Fran quarterback Colin Kaepernick has been tapped as one of the faces of Nike's 30th anniversary Just Do It campaigns, according to the Washington Post.
Okay, I am also a cool guy, but not that cool.
Kaepernick, who has been under contract with Nike since 2011, makes for an interesting choice to help lead the campaign since he's involved in an ongoing legal dispute with the NFL, one of Nike's biggest business partners. Nike is the official provider of the NFL's jerseys, and one person familiar with the league's inner workings said that Nike provided no advance notice, as far as I know, to the NFL about the Kapernick ad campaign.
Good.
Kaepernick filed a collusion grievance against the league in October, alleging an organized effort to keep him off a roster because of his protest during the national anthem of the 2016 election. Talks between Nike and Kaepernick's camp started a few months ago, and the sides negotiated a new multi-year pact, according to a person familiar with the agreement. Terms were not disclosed. It's all top-level football. It's a top-level football deal, a deal that reflects him as an icon and an athlete, not just an athlete, said a person familiar with the agreement crew.
Now, here's what Colin Kaepernick tweeted out at Kaepernick7. Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. Hashtag, just do it. And it's a picture of just his eyes and his forehead. A little bit of hair on the top. I'm going to read on from this piece. The campaign represents a strong commitment by Nike. Wasn't sure how to promote Kaepernick in recent years as he became a divisive figure. The protest during the national anthem, started by Kaepernick, embraced by other players throughout the league, and criticized repeatedly by President Trump, have been a divisive issue for the league, players, and fans. NFL ratings have declined since the protests began, though there is cause to debate what the cause is. I read that out of order, my bad. It wasn't a foregone conclusion that Nike would go this way, especially as he was being vilified, the person familiar with the agreement said. Kaepernick tweeted the ad from his Twitter account Monday afternoon. The quarterback began protesting racial injustice and police brutality in August of 2016 by sitting during the national anthem. Kaepernick sat or kneeled during the national anthem throughout the 2016 season and launched a movement of athletes doing the same. Nike has a strong, long-standing relationship with the NFL. In March came the announcement that Nike would continue to supply the NFL with uniforms and apparel through 2028. That's a long-term deal in the apparel industry. Dom, the company has been the exclusive provider of on-field apparel for the NFL since 2012. And finally, Kaepernick has not been on an NFL roster since he parted ways with the 49ers at the end of the 2016 season. Stephen B. Burbank, the arbiter assigned to resolve disputes between the NFL and the NFL Players Association arising from the collective bargaining agreement, ruled last week against the NFL's request to dismiss the case. Once again, the tweet: believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. Hashtag just do it.
Well, of course, the logical reaction from the snowflake right, Crudy, also from the Post, people are destroying their Nike gear to protest the Colin Kaepernick Just Do It campaign. Some sliced the swooshes right out of their socks. Others lit their shoes aflame and filmed while they burned in their yards. All had strong
While
feelings.
they were wearing the shoes?
No. All had strong feelings about Nike's new Just Do It campaign and one of its newest faces, Colin Kaepernick. We went into some of the details. Crudy, as you mentioned, believe in something even if it means sacrificing everything. The piece goes on. The ad stood out as a bold statement on racial justice from Nike and as the latest demonstration of the company's values, experts said. While companies often steer clear of taking any firm stance on race relations, experts said Nike has claimed the fight for racial equality as a tenet of its mission. Some Kaepernick's critic took that to mean sacrificing their Nike products. Immediately, people began posting pictures of socks and shoes they had defaced or destroyed, or declaring they would soon be switching allegiances to Adidas, Brooks, or Converse. Never mind that Nike owns Converse. Country star John Rich showed a pair of Nike logos had been removed from his soundman's socks. He tweeted this out at John Rich. Our sound man just cut the Nike swoosh off his socks. Former Marine, get ready, Nike. Multiply that by the millions. And they showed a pair of shoes that were set on fire going viral from Sean Clancy. And here's what he had to say in his tweet. First, the NFL forces me to choose between my favorite sport and my country. I choose country. Then Nike forces me to choose between my favorite shoes and my country. Since when did the American flag and the national anthem become offensive? Well, Sean Clancy, I think you kind of missed the point. Rosa Parks wasn't protesting mass transit. You know what I'm saying here? That this isn't a matter of national anthem or the flag. It's about racial injustice, sir.
I understand you, but I'm not sure that Sean Clancy at SClancy79 with the "Don't Tread on Me" avatar, Tea Partier that he is. I don't think that he gets it, Tom. I suspect he might have a little white privilege, you might even say.
The anti-Nike puns came next. Just don't, posted one Instagram user. Just blew it, posted another. And, of course, Trump has been persistently critical of NFL players protesting during the national anthem, a movement Kaepernick launched. Trump and others have frequently mischaracterized Kaepernick's protest as being against the anthem or the American flag. Gee, I think I just said that, Crute.
In an interview with Fox News last year, Trump told Sean Hannity he thought Kaepernick should have been suspended after his first protest. I watched Colin Kaepernick. I thought he was terrible. And then he got bigger and bigger. And it started mushrooming. Now, I've done some mushrooms, but anyways, I read on. And frankly, the NFL should have suspended him for one game, and he never would have done it again. Now, they colluded against him. They've kept him off the field for nearly 2 seasons. It's not like his actions have not had recourse, Trump.
No, right. No consequences at all, right?
I will tell you, you cannot disrespect our country, our flag, our anthem. You cannot do that.
Is it disrespectful to work with a foreign adversary to subvert the will of the American people through election violations? I'm just curious. Is that how we celebrate?
I would call it a little treasonous.
I'm just saying, man. I mean, I hope people can be consistent, when the hammer falls.
Here's my only issue, and here's my only concern. It's another cultural wedge issue. Donald Trump cannot win on the issues. He cannot win on the votes, but he's really good at driving cultural wedge issues like this. And I think in some small degree, this may play to his hand, albeit the Colin Kaepernick or Nike's embrace of Colin Kaepernick. Now, I love this idea. And I think, considering Nike's trying to do business with the next generation, I don't see lots of old white guys out in their jogging shoes with the Nike swooshes on the side. You know what I'm saying? I think Nike is really trying to appeal to younger human beings, a more diverse, culturally diverse group of human beings. Let's call them millennials. Let's call them Gen Xers. But what I don't think is they're too worried about Donald Trump's opinion of their company, because Donald Trump, he doesn't exercise. Donald Trump's never bought a pair of Nike shoes. I mean, if he has, it was just for the style. He didn't need them. I mean, the man believes literally.
Come on, you don't think he has Nike golf shoes?
Donald Trump believes literally that he has a defined amount of life energy, and if he exercises, he's going to use it up. Yeah. I'm just saying.
I mean, listen. Let's remember one thing. This is an advertising campaign, right? Let's remember.
Is it for Kaepernick? I mean, it's pretty much been a life decision for Kaepernick.
But for Nike, it's an advertising campaign. I mean, Kaepernick's not the only person being profiled here in these campaigns. There's other athletes as well. I don't have them off that. One of the Williams sisters, I believe, is also in it. There's other athletes that are involved in this as well. It's not just strictly a Kaepernick Nike campaign. So this is part of selling tennis shoes, man. And what are we doing? We're talking about it, right? So it's successful in that regard. Now, the cynical side of me, okay, are they just trying to jump on to this issue? You called it a wedge issue. Certainly, there's a lot of people in this world, probably many in our audience, who have concerns about racial injustice. I think that's a fair stance to have. And if a corporate entity is going to get involved in that, well, I mean, they have their reasons for doing so. But ultimately, their reasons, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, being, a publicly traded company, is to sell more tennis shoes. That's what it's really about. Now, what about the pushback? What about the guys that are going to cut out, the swooshes off of their shirts and off of their socks while they're still wearing them? Do you think that they actually end up losing any money because of this?
I would encourage all the boycott Nike people, burn them right on your feet. Burn them off your feet. A real man would burn those shoes right off his feet. He wouldn't even untie them. I'd double knot them and then catch them on fire. That's what I'd do if I were you, you Trump-loving, Nike-hating, Kaepernick-hating sort of people.
and the concepts here that you have to choose between. You know, we quoted Sean.
Country and favorite shoe?
Yeah, favorite sport, my country. I choose country. Then Nike forces me to choose between my favorite shoes and my country. It's just so short-sighted. Why do you have to choose? I mean, Colin Kaepernick and probably lots of people who are concerned about racial injustice probably drink milk, eat bread, consume butter or yogurt, you know, dairy products. Are you going to start, you know, boycotting all of those things? Hell, you know, they probably even breathe oxygen.
You know, Kaepernick has been very philanthropic, and I know that Donald Trump has never really been philanthropic at all.
What are you talking about? He's got the Trump Foundation.
He uses other people's money to pay off his personal debts with the Trump Foundation. That's the accusations that have been leveled by the, New York Attorney General against Trump and his family.
Oh, that's right. There is an investigation going on right now.
There's lots of investigations of the president going on right now.
But the president, he stands for the flag and kneels for the cross. And so, therefore, he's, you know, one of them. But wait and see, folks, when the guy's been found to have been working knowingly with, I don't know, call them Russians, are you going to feel the same way, or are you going to start saying, you know, Putin, he's a strong guy, I like him?
Let me ask you, level of commitment. Believe in something even if it means sacrificing everything. I would ask people, you know, what's your level of commitment? What have you done for the cause? Would you burn some Nike shoes? I mean, Trump supporters or those that might support Kaepernick or those that, you know, just believe strongly in justice or maybe good governance. But I would ask you, what has been your level of commitment? Have you walked away from a job? I mean, that's effectively, Colin Kaepernick walked away from a multi-million-dollar-a-year contract. He voided the contract. He knew what he was doing. He gave the 49ers the easy out, if I recall. That is true commitment to what he thinks is just. And ultimately, this lawsuit, I don't think it's going to enhance his career outcome, his lawsuit against the NFL and the owners of NFL teams. And whether or not they colluded against him in the past, they certainly are going to in the future. I don't think there's going to be any other multi-year contracts offered to Kaepernick.
Well, and he's not getting any younger.
Especially upon the success of his lawsuit.
You know, he has a...
You won't even cut your hair for the resistance.
Come, what are you talking about?
Where's your level of commitment? You won't even shave for the resistance.
I didn't know that I had to. What's your level of commitment? I mean, I don't... Of course, you know, those that serve in the armed forces or in journalists that died and police officers that die, you know, those that die in service to their country, right? I would consider that the ultimate sacrifice, right? Sacrifice everything. Well, everything includes your life. And is Colin Kaepernick sacrificing his life? Is Nike sacrificing anything? No.
Well, Nike
I don't think Nike's
sacrificing. I'm not asking about Nike's sacrifice. I'm talking about one man's personal sacrifice to take what he thinks is this justified position. I mean, he's standing down the president of the United States.
So what? So do you?
On a very small and minute level.
Okay.
You think Donald Trump knows I'm alive? You think Donald Trump cares about resistance radio?
If he did, would you change how you act?
No, I can't say.
So there you go.
Appreciably, I would, because I'm already out here with what I'd like to think is a similar level of commitment to the cause. I mean, what else am I going to do?
Throw a football? Can you throw a spiral?
Yes, I can.
Old
but
man.
Not nearly as far. And when it came time to run away from the defensive tackles, I'd make an easy target.
You're more of a pocket thrower then, huh?
Yeah, pocket passer.
You're not gonna
Tom Brady-ish, you might say.
Yeah, you look just like him.
844-967-2789. What is the level of commitment? And I see David from Mequon. He's committed to often listening and calling in this fine program. Let's take a quick call. I think we got time. Let's take David. David, you're the first one to jump on this topic. What's your thought?
Actually, you know what? I was going to just interject, and I apologize, guys. Just the radio went out on me, so I'm not quite sure exactly where we left off there. But I was just going to point out there were some earlier callers today that were talking about with the Barack Obama and everything else. And I understand. Listen, people have an opinion to different things. And I think at the end of the day, the one thing with the McCain hearing or the funeral over the weekend is that people can still, I think at the end of the day, you, myself, and Dom, we all love our families. We all love, our kids. We all love, to have a great meal. And I think we just have to realize we're different, but we really aren't that much different. And I just wanted to point that out because sometimes when I listen to some of the callers that call in, and they say this person is racist and everything else, I don't think that accomplishes the goal of trying to figure out how to solve problems.
But what if the person has demonstrated all the qualities of a racist, David? Should they not be called out for their bad behavior, be it the president or the governor of the state of Wisconsin?
Yes, I totally agree with that. But at the same token, I don't know if you realize this, when I was on Earl's show maybe a few months ago, I was actually there at your studio. I wanted to talk about Louis Farrakhan, and that's a very touchy subject. And unfortunately, when you have somebody like that, I consider him the David Duke on that side of the aisle. And if we can't talk about that, then we're never going to accomplish anything going forward because you got to call a spade a spade. And I totally agree with you as far as what you're talking about is Trump, like over the top. He says some horrible things. There's no question about that. But I also think there are some people who recognize that, listen, that's not, someone that, even if they were to support him, doesn't mean that they're in the same racist category. They might agree with maybe his line of reasoning with, some of the policy questions, but don't like him as a person.
Well, David, don't support the racist, I would say. And if you don't believe in the policies, don't wear the hood, don't wear the white sheets, and don't go burn crosses on people's lawns. And if you allow that sort of behavior to happen, well, then you're also complicit in some way, shape, or form. Doesn't make you a racist, but it does make the president racist. Come back with us, more Devils.
The one thing we know, and they do say, anybody that runs against Trump suffers. That's the way it should be. If that were football standards, NFL standards, he ran for about 2,000 yards in one game.
Merchandising!
Son of a bitch.
Hi, this is Demi, pharmacist at Hyatt, locally owned pharmacy in the community of Milwaukee. Simplifying lives, one prescription at a time is our goal. Do free delivery of your medications to your home and at work. All your meds are brought together in one convenient dosage package individualized to your medication needs. We set up a house call with a licensed pharmacist to assist with medication management. We accept all insurance plans. To learn more about Hyatt, visit our website, HAYATRX.com.
The Packing House Restaurant, located at 900 East Layton Avenue, offers fine dining and casual supper club style. Family owned and operated for over 40 years, the Packing House features great steaks, prime rib, and the best fish fry around. Join us for live music on Wednesday through Saturday evenings. The Packing House Restaurant, open for lunch, Monday through Friday, and dinner nightly. Call us at 414-483-5054 or visit us online at packinghousemke.com.
Tweens have mastered the art of tuning out. Jen, there's a spider in the car. We're turning your room into a home gym. See? Nothing. But some messages need to get through. Like making sure they're buckled up the whole ride, every time. Do whatever it takes to make your child listen. Jen, I friended your boyfriend.
Wait, what?
Buckle up, sweetie.
Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Once again, the American public has some reading to do. In a 29-page indictment today, Americans need to take a look at page 6, paragraph 20, and here come those important 8 words: to interfere with the 2016 U.S. presidential election. That is it.
Jim, I'm going to make a confession on behalf of the panel. Dom's not going to read the indictments.
Come on, maybe.
The Devil's Advocates, political commentary from the back of the class. I don't know if you know the Devil's Advocates, but they are kind of a big deal.
And And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show, Real Resistance Radio, streaming on YouTube and Facebook, on Twitter at Devil Radio. And the party line is open, 844-967-2789. Crudy, I mentioned it in the last segment. Colin Kaepernick, not the only athlete. Serena Williams, LeBron James show that Nike's new campaign is bigger than Colin Kaepernick, the title of an article in the Washington Post.
Laura Ingraham told LeBron James to shut up and dribble. Yeah. Serena Williams has been vilified. She, had a baby and played tennis too quickly thereafter. She's a black woman in a white woman's sport. So I would say there's some purposeful choosing of the icons and the celebrities, and more importantly, the world-class athletes that they're using to represent this brand. Because these people have shown courage beyond the playing field.
The NFL released a statement Tuesday saying the league, quote, believes in dialogue, understanding, and unity, and embraces the role and responsibility of everyone involved with this game to promote meaningful, positive change in our communities. The social justice issues that Colin and other professional athletes have raised deserve our attention and action, the NFL statement concluded. From the Washington Post, Crudy, Williams is a focal point of a Nike campaign that coincides with her U.S. Open appearance, one that celebrates her journey both as a woman of color in a predominantly white sport and as a new mother. She shared an image of that campaign Monday night that shows her as a young girl swinging a racket on the courts of Compton, California, with the words, "It's only a crazy dream until you do it." To that, she added, especially proud to be a part of the Nike family today.
Where'd these storms come from? Suddenly we got thunder and lightning on Brady Street down here in Milwaukee. Be careful out there if you're driving on the roads, getting stormy out. And not the good kind of stormy. Stormy.
Stormy Daniels stormy?
844-967-2789. Grab a phone caller. It is Kurt from Madison. Welcome, Kurt. Your thoughts?
Hi, guys.
Hey, man.
Hey, Kurt.
First, big thumbs up to Cassandra. She really nailed it in that phone call. I had to call in after David. My head, I get a headache when I hear people twist and contort themselves in every shape, way, and form to justify the decision and defend someone because he may have done one or two things correct, but totally negate all the incredibly terrible things he's done. So, for example, David, if you're witnessing a man assaulting a woman and you just stand by and do nothing and she gets harmed, you are complicit in that action because you did nothing. This is the same rule that applies for everything in life. So you can't have it both ways. You got to make up your mind.
Well, don't try telling that, Kurt, to all the Urban Meyer fans at Ohio State. Apparently, it's just fine to beat your wife if you're a talented assistant coach. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. Sorry to cut you short, Kurt. Try a different day. 844-967-2789. We'll take more calls in the happy hour. It commences right now, and I'm happy. I'm not out there in the rain. It got nasty outside all of a sudden.
RELAX.
Son of a bitch.
Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison, resisting dirty carpets and harsh chemicals. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We're not using any soaps. We're not using any chemicals. We cost about the same as the other guys. You look at it and you go, where's the downside? You got a completely green clean. It's awesome. We guarantee it. There's no downside.
There's no downside. Use Zero Res. Call Zero Res today. 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
I'm Andy Buck, Field Representative with Painters and Allied Trades of Wisconsin. It's an issue that brings constant challenges for building contractors. How to find qualified painters, glazers, and drywall finishers. IUPAT knows what you want. A professional job performed by skilled workers who care about safety, training, and finishing strong. Workers who are reliable and ready on demand. Let IUPAT provide the people power that you need. You'll feel confident the job is finished right. Connect at iupatdc7.com and finish strong.
You are listening to Real Resistance Radio, WRRD 1510 AM Waukesha and WTTN 1580 AM Columbus. Always streaming at realresistanceradio.com.
The Kavanaugh hearing, new book on Trump. I'm Ann Cates. U.S. Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh has sat through a contentious first day of confirmation hearings on Capitol Hill. Kavanaugh made an opening statement to senators.
My judicial philosophy is straightforward. A judge must be independent and must interpret the law, not make the law. A judge must interpret statutes as written. A judge must interpret the Constitution as written, informed by history and tradition and precedent.
70 people were arrested in connection with the Kavanaugh hearing, which resumes tomorrow. An upcoming book looks at the chaos in the Trump White House.
Aides questioning the president's intelligence and taking papers off his desk to try to rein in his impulses. He, in turn, mocking many of them, especially Jeff Sessions. That's the overall impression, according to a Washington Post story about Bob Woodward's new book on the Trump White House. Woodward recorded an August 18 conversation with Mr. Trump after the manuscript was finished.
We're going to have a very inaccurate book, and that's too bad. No, but I don't blame you entirely.
Be accurate.
All right, okay. Well, accurate is that nobody's ever done a better job than I'm doing as president, that I can tell you.
The book also portrays the president's attorneys worried about how bad an interview with Robert Mueller's team would go, even as he obsessed over the Russia investigation. Up Costantini, Washington.
Tropical Storm Gordon continues to take aim at the Gulf Coast. Louisiana Governor John Bell Edwards says the weather system needs to be taken seriously.
We're not out of the woods. We still have a couple of days left to go, and I'd ask everyone to pay close attention, to get prepared. If you haven't done so, it's not too late. To get a game plan, I'd ask you to go to getagameplan.org. It will give you information about what you need to do to be prepared.
Tropical Storm Gordon is packing 70-mile-an-hour winds. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 12 points, the S&P down 5, the Nasdaq off 18. I'm Ann Cates.
Do you love public education? Do you want to support your schools? Then you should support the people who make them work. You should support teachers and their unions. Teachers' working conditions are students' learning conditions, and when the school bell rings, it is crucial that teachers do not check their rights at the door. The ability to organize and advocate around issues that improve the quality of a teacher's workplace will increase opportunities for students and make schools safer for everyone. Stand with teachers, stand with WEAC Region 7.
Here in the Badger State, we have our own expressions. When we're looking to go on vacation, we state, well, let's go up north. Hello, this is Tom Bennett, president of Teamsters Local 200. Here in the Badger State, we also have another expression, union yes. The strength of the labor movement depends on elected officials here in Wisconsin and Washington, D.C. that support the values of working families that raise the standards for all. Give us a call at Teamsters Local 200 at 414-771-6363 or visit our website at www.teamsterslocal200.com or on Facebook at Teamsters Local 200. Be engaged.
The GoFundMe account that once held $400,000 for a Philadelphia homeless man apparently has nothing left in it.
Attorneys for Johnny Bobbitt, who famously spent his last $20 to help Kate McClure fill her gas tank when she ran out of gas on I-95. Bobbitt's attorney Chris Fallon told the Philadelphia Inquirer that he learned in a call with the couple's lawyers that the account was now empty. Last week they thought about $200,000 remained. Bobbitt is suing the couple for mismanagement of the donations that were raised for him by the couple. 14,000 people donated. GoFundMe has launched their own investigation. Last week, a judge ordered the couple to relinquish control of the account to a judge. I'm John Stolness.
Federal authorities say a pair of ruby slippers worn by Judy Garland in The Wizard of Oz and stolen from a Minnesota museum has been recovered in a sting operation. Thieves took the iconic slippers in 2005 from a display case in the Judy Garland Museum in Grand Rapids. I'm Ann Cates.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only ordering classic corner tavern.
The Forum, hosted by Sherwin Hughes, exclusively on Real Resistance Radio. Call in live at 844-967-2789 and give your thoughts, feelings, and opinions on local and national topics. Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. until 11 a.m. It will not be what you expect to hear, but we will definitely give you what you need to know. That's the Forum, hosted by Sherwin Hughes on Real Resistance Radio. Always streaming live on realresistanceradio.com.
Good afternoon. It is 5:05 for Real Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly. I'm here with a special weather statement from the Alert Center. A strong thunderstorm will affect southwestern Ozaukee, Milwaukee, and east central Waukesha counties at 4:44 p.m. Central Time. Strong thunderstorm is located over southwestern Milwaukee, moving northeast at 25 miles an hour. Winds in excess of 40 miles an hour are possible with this storm. Locations impacted include Milwaukee, West Dallas, Wauwatosa, New Berlin, Brookfield, Greenfield, Menominee Falls, Oak Creek, Muskego, Beckwan, Whitefish Bay, Greendale, Brown Deer, Grafton, Cedarburg, St. Francis, Hales Corners, Fox Point, Elm Grove, and Bayside. Torrential rainfall is also occurring with the storm, may cause localized flooding. For Real Resistance Radio, my name is Brian Kelly.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by Party is just beginning. Welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dom, we are sliding into the 5 o'clock happy hour, and I'm happy to announce, eyewitness weather style, the heavy storms have already blown through. It rained like a bat out of hell. It blew hard, and now it's blue skies. And that all happened during like a 7-minute commercial break.
But be careful out there on the roads, and watch out for bikes.
I don't think the heavy stuff's going to come down for quite a while.
I've been saying that for weeks.
I'd play through.
Dom,
one quick note, and I don't know if today's the day to do it, but I'm here in Milwaukee today, so I'm going to say something. Got to stop coming to Milwaukee quite as often as I've been coming to Milwaukee. In some small part, winter is coming, as you're well aware. And Dominic, I hate to point out to fans of this big radio station, these two radio stations, but we are AM daytimers. And what's that mean? That means about 60 days from now, specifically the Sunday night before Election Day in the great state of Wisconsin, our shutoff gets accelerated really quickly.
Winter is coming. The days are getting shorter. We have to turn the power down on the antennas.
Well, not only do we have to turn it down, we have to turn it off at sunset. Now, in August, that was no big deal. 8 o'clock. In September, 7 o'clock p.m. In October, 6:15.
Oh, it's getting close.
First week of November, 5:30.
Boo!
The second week of November, think Election Day in the state of Wisconsin, 4:30 after daylight savings. And that puts us in this weird spot. We went through this once last winter. And it was about a year and 2 months ago. More accurately, about October of last year, I said, oh, God, man, here we go. Winter is coming, and our days are shortening. And for all the raps on Real Resistance Radio, oh, you guys aren't in the book. Well, I don't pay to be in the book. And it's going to surprise a lot of people in this media market when WTMJ closes. And they're no longer in the book either, because the guy I bought this radio station from, he doesn't believe in paying excess dollars to get the ratings either. So WTMJ, my direct competitor, may no longer be in the book as soon as that deal closes. But my little dream, Dom, and I've had a dream, I've had a vision for the messaging platform for the Democrats in the great state of Wisconsin. And it started in Milwaukee. And it started with the radio station many of you are listening to right now, WRRD 1510 AM. And anyone that's heard me tell this tale knows I kind of leveraged up a lot to buy this radio station. I put up the land associated with the transmitter in Waukesha. I put up my paid-for company. I put up my house. And I put up my kidney. True, all except the kidney part.
Well, you still got your liver.
Yeah, but that's on its last leg. So here's the point. Coming to Milwaukee, doing my damnedest to try and get this little radio station up and running. And we've been at it for 18 months.
Wow.
And I've lost my ass. But here's the good news. Still got a little ass left. And we've turned the corner in a way. Now, when I say we've turned a corner, we're like breaking evening now. We're not losing our ass. I'm not hemorrhaging money like I once was. Now, do I still have to manage cash flow? Every payroll. Crudy's throwing some money in and then hopefully taking some money out. But here's the good news. At least we've got revenue coming in that generally matches the expenses of running this radio station in Milwaukee. And second act, go get an FM in Milwaukee. And I think I've told many of you on the radio, we succeeded at that goal, at least on paper. I've got an FM license issued in Milwaukee, 101.7 FM, last clear channel, last clear frequency. There's not...
On the FM dial.
On the FM dial in Milwaukee, we got the last clear one. There is no interfering stations for 80 miles. If I ever get it built, that is going to be a superior FM station. We would have a competitive advantage over WISN and WTMJ. Our FM's better. Our AM is similar, but our FM would be better, and WISN doesn't even have an FM. They'd have to envy
even more than they do now.
1,000-foot high FM. And the clock, it's ticking, Dom. We're 2 months, and it takes about 2 months to build an FM. But that happened in January. I turned immediately towards Madison and found this little station, WTTN 1580 in Columbus, and I made a land contract. Why'd I do a land contract? Because I can't borrow money. I'm already leveraged up to the gills. You didn't listen before when I said I already borrowed all the money I could borrow? So I did a land contract. Same seller, same guy going out and buying WTMJ. My landlord in Madison is my competitor very soon here in Milwaukee.
What a weird...
Puts me in a... Yes.
Yeah, it's a weird spot.
It is a weird spot. But that happened in March. And then I went out and I tried to acquire an FM signal in Madison. And I'd like to say, mission accomplished. That happened in June, middle of June. So here we are. We're 2 months from, a very sad time if you're an AM daytime radio station. Because what are otherwise, this station in Milwaukee, nothing to sneeze at, 23,000 watts during the day, 20,000 at critical hours, and a superior FM if I get it built. And in Madison, well, that's not as clear. The AM station, 5,000 watts. It originates from Columbus, and it's only about 800 watts to Madison, where I live. So I have to listen, at least on the far west side, out in Middleton. It's all staticky. It's not as clear as it used to be. FM station used to be the Mike 92.1 in Madison. Well, ironically, Crudy, in this little endeavor, have 92.7
for the FM
and
license.
It's time. It is past due time to build the mic. M-I-K-E. The mic.
Be like Mike.
And we really need to get at it. And there's 2 months. And there's 2 months before these AM daytime radio stations take this tremendous blow, which is, an earlier sunset, and we got to turn them off. It's going to hurt our ratings. It's going to hurt our ability to affect the outcomes, the messaging, the politics. We are disadvantaged until we get FMs. But I'm back to broke. Like I said, juggled money, pay the bills, break even on what it is we are doing here in Milwaukee. But I'm also commuting 3 hours a day. And I drive away from the town I love each and every day to come and take on this community, which I love Milwaukee too. Don't get me wrong. But I don't live here. I haven't lived here my whole life, and you guys aren't nearly as liberal as my hometown. I mean, it's pretty cool. You know, for those of you that live here in Milwaukee, you should come visit Madison. It's kind of like utopia, you know, with Mayor Paul McGrumpy Pants. Paul Soglin, we still like Paul. But here's the point. I'm getting to the point where I need to tell people that I need to take on second round financing, because I can't go to the bank and do any more SBA loans leveraging. I can't borrow again. I'm out of kidneys. So at some point, you may hear news that I'm seeking financial partnerships, because I'm making that announcement right now.
Right now?
And I'd love to, get a partner here in Milwaukee. And I mean equity partner. I got plenty of equity. I just can't borrow against it. And I'd like to get an equity partner in Madison, or I'd like to get a rich sugar daddy or mama who could be an equity partner in both markets. But we got to get these FMs built. And we need to do so because the message that we're trying to get out there is important. If it's important to you, the outcome of these elections, it's important to me. I put my whole life savings up, and I'm not a guy that believes in borrowing money. I mean, I was cash. I've owned a company for 10 years. Own it for cash. I got a small mortgage on my house. Now I got a big ass mortgage on my house. I got a mortgage on my company. I got a mortgage on this company. And I would have borrowed more. I would have done the private equity route. I'd have borrowed more. But I'm getting to the point at this stage of my little career. I got a kid starting high school. I got another kid who's in sports. I got a wife who, quite frankly, is a little sick of me getting home between 8 and 9 o'clock at night, every night, weeknights. It would like me a little closer to home. So my focus is not going to be looking over the shoulder here of the guys that are doing a great job in Milwaukee. I could not be prouder of what it is we've accomplished in this city. Now, you might say, nobody's listening. You're wrong. And we're 18 months in. It takes 18 months just to build up any radio station. We busted our asses for the last 18 months. We are now in a much stronger financial position. I mean, the rent's paid. We're current with the bank. And as far as I can tell, I think the payroll cleared, right?
Yeah, we're good.
So we're good for today. And tomorrow there will be new bills. But I can't do it alone. And I realize many of the people listening to my voice right now, they're like, but Crudy, we don't have millions of dollars. Well, first and foremost, just for the record, I don't need millions. I've already invested millions, literally borrowed millions, but I've invested the millions. I don't need millions anymore. But I need enough money to build an FM. If we do it right, I need money to build an FM in Milwaukee. I need money to build an FM in Madison. And I need to create stability. Because otherwise, what is now currently, 2 a.m. stations, that's not a guarantee. There are no guarantees in life. Either I continue to grow. You're either one of two things in business. You're either growing or you're shrinking.
Yeah, right.
Or you're dying. Well, I don't plan on dying. Dying doesn't sound like much fun to me. But what I cannot do is I cannot commit my life energy, my life savings to being here in Milwaukee each and every day. And at the pace we're at, breaking even doesn't create 100,000 here and 100,000 there. And that's what it's going to take. It's going to take big investment, not beyond the realm of reason, but it's going to take big investment. So I'm going to be seeking financial partnerships. And I hope that I find financial partners willing to take a risk with me that can be collateralized against very equitable radio stations. But if I cannot continue to grow, then I got to shrink. And I don't want to shrink. But right now, Madison is a big liability. Columbus, it's no good to have a scratchy AM signal in Columbus unless I get around to building the FM. That's the plan.
In Madison.
The vision is there. I've done every part of the vision. Now, part of the vision was Democratic candidates would support it. Well, boy, that was a little blurry. That part of the vision was blurry. So I can't depend on the Democratic candidates, the gubernatorial candidates, the senatorial candidates.
The block of political spending that would come within an election cycle.
Well, that comes into right-wing talk radio. They're getting paid right now. We're not getting paid so much, but they're getting paid. But if one must come to the realization that the Democratic Party and those that are candidates for the Democratic Party have never had a platform like this before, and they don't know what to do with us, and they don't see the value, well, they're lost. And it's not my job to get them elected or reelected. You know, I'd like to see them get elected or reelected, but I can't control their outcomes. They got high-paid DC consultants telling them what to do with their dollars. $1 million over here, $1 million over there. I'm sure if we jump up on TV for those last 2 weeks, we'll catch Tony Evers for sure. Or not. But what do I know? You know, I just do this for a living all day, every day, for the last 6 going on 7 years of my life.
Wow.
And you've been there, you know, most of those days, working nearly as hard. But here's the point. So, Real Resistance Radio, it's a little bit of a rebrand, and we're making it a little bit better around here. And what do I mean by that? I love what we got going on in the morning. You want to get African-American voters out? You think people should hear and know and be involved in politics, especially in the city of Milwaukee? Check, check. We got Earl Ingram Jr. We got Sherwin Hughes. They're doing their best. We got a great lineup in the afternoon. Fancy Brian Kelly. We got the Devil's Advocates. You're listening right now. I mean, most of our competitors, even the big guys, ISN, TMJ, they aren't doing any more local talk than we're doing. But here's the important part. They are massive corporations. Clear Channel has, iHeart has, 850 radio stations?
Yeah, 22 billion in debt, yes.
My friend Craig Karmazon paying $16 million for WTMJ.
And the other one, total.
And total, yes. Divide that by 2, but I would say more of the money going to WTMJ. That's probably a $12 million acquisition. And then there's little old Broke Me out here. And we've done pretty damn okay with what resources we have. We've built this up. We've gotten it to a financial point. We've turned that corner. We've broken even. And now it's time to make some money and build the FMs and get it right. Or it's time to shrink. So who's with me? I say just do it. Let me know. You know how to get a hold of me. 844-967-2789. You got a lot of money. You want to be my partner? Just call.
Have you paid your dues, Jack? Yes, sir. The check is in the mail.
Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We've got a patented system. We also do another step that most people don't do. We have a double rotating brush machine that we use when we pre-treat the carpet. So this helps dig up any of that stuff that's deeper in your carpet that the vacuum doesn't get. We're going to provide that intermediary step before we clean with our empowered water.
Call Zero Res today, 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
On marijuana, unfortunately, it's a public health issue and a public safety issue. I've opposed that.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta, how can medical marijuana help those addicted to opioids?
There's 3 big things. There's clear consensus now that cannabis can treat pain. That is not an opinion. That is a consensus conclusion by big scientific bodies like the National Academy of Science. We also know that it can help treat the withdrawal symptoms of opioids. People, they don't want to be on enemy anymore. They want to quit, but they develop the terrible withdrawal symptoms. And now we have evidence that it can actually help heal the part of the brain that is diseased in someone who's an opioid addict. If you had to start from scratch and design a substance to help lead us out of the opioid epidemic, like in a lab, it would probably look very much like cannabis.
Call Governor Scott Walker at 608-266-1212. Tell him good people do smoke marijuana. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
We got Mark Pocan live via phone. Mark, does Paul Ryan hate poor people?
Oh, he hates poor people and middle-class people. I mean, I think when he was probably 5 years old playing with Play-Doh, trying to, adjust the taxes on Play-Doh. And so, to be fair, I think he's doing what he always said he was going to do. It's just no one actually believed he was either that cruel, evil, or dumb to do it.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 AM, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Ass, grass, or cash, nobody rides for free. Dom and Crute are the devil's advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Real Resistance Radio, streaming on YouTube and Facebook pages, on Twitter at Devil Radio, and always the phone lines, toll free, 844-967-2789.
Dominic, so a little quick recap, then we'll get to the phones. 844-967-2789. Crudy would like to spend more time in the city where my family lives, that's Madison. And Crudy would like to concentrate on building an FM signal in Madison. That's my dream, to have a radio station in my hometown. Now, we've got a radio station in your hometown. It's right here. And we could make it a superior radio station, but that would also cost money. But I don't have to be here. I'm not climbing the tower 1,000 feet. Right. I just need the money. We can make the radio station better. We can make it stronger. And I don't need millions. I can patchwork together some small partnerships. I have equity to offer, and I got a company on the brink of profitability, but no thanks to the Democrats. I'll set them aside. But broadcasts like yesterday, I was very proud of this fine group. Yourself, Earl Ingram Jr., Keith. We did a 4-hour broadcast from Labor Fest. I think I saw one TV camera. You got Tammy Baldwin, you got Tony Evers, you got Gwen Moore, you got lots of fine politicians. We talked to a lot of young people running for assembly seats, especially senators, Julie Hensey, Lillian Cheeseman, I cannot name them all, but I can tell you that's exactly the sort of radio I'd like to run. But we've got to have an equal playing field, and one guy cannot do it alone. And I got lots of hardworking guys. They're putting their effort in. They're paying the dues. But we can't do it alone. I don't have enough money. I'm not a rich enough man. If I were only a Republican, Dom, I feel quite confident all my problems would be solved.
844-967-2789. Bob, you're up. Thanks for calling. What do you got today?
Hey, buddy, I want to thank you so much for what you're doing for our fight to save our pensions. The airtime you gave me yesterday at Labor Fest was more publicity than all them news stations combined. I counted a total of 38 seconds on all the TV stations that did any broadcast on Labor Day with nothing of substance. It's just, it hurts my heart that this city, we're treated like trash by the media. Labor built this city, built this country. My God, the labor revolution started here. And we can't get any credible publicity from these people. And you guys are, like you said, you're busting your ass. And you don't know how much I appreciate it. And the Wisconsin Committee to Protect Pensions appreciates it. I hear from our people that listened yesterday that because of the weather, they didn't march in the parade. But you've seen how many strong, hardcore labor people were there.
Mm-hmm.
I can't thank you enough, man. Keep it up.
Well, Bob, kind words. Appreciate those always. And you can be like Bob. Say nice things about us. 844-967-2789. Of course, we stand with our friends in labor in solidarity. The working stiffs, the Janes and Joes, you know, because they're the ones with the six-packs. And we're always willing to drink someone else's cold one. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates, more of you on the phones if you choose. 844-967-2789.
Probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for the American
against
worker.
Dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. But when we introduce a new stimulus, Save the Food, we're helping to stop food waste. Save the Food. For tips and recipes, visit SaveTheFood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Kristen inviting you to join the resistance. Our loyal and engaged audience will become your greatest advocates and customers. To get started or to find out more, click the sponsorship tab at realresistanceradio.com or email me, KRISTIN, at realresistanceradio.com to get started now. Let the resistance fight for you.
It's hard to dream when you're fighting for 15. This is Pizza Box Mike for Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Check out fightfor15.org to get involved in the fight for 15.
Hi, Resistance Radio listeners. This is Kim Schrader, the president of the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association. We are the 4,600 educators who make Milwaukee's public education system possible. MTA members are the guardians of public education because every single day we are fighting to strengthen and protect public schools our students deserve. MTA educators are leading the fight in Milwaukee Public Schools for smaller class sizes, more recess, physical education, art, and music opportunities for every child in MPS. MTA educators are the champions for healthier school meals, positive discipline practices, equitable schools, and schools that partner with parents. MTA members are the guardians of public education, and we are proud to teach all children, regardless of their zip code. To learn more, follow us on Facebook at the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
For Real Resistance Radio, my name is Keith Gosted. Around 40 cases of bleeding and 1 fatality have been linked to rat poison contaminating K2 and spice products that health officials call synthetic cannabinoids. The cases have been confirmed in 4 counties, including Dane and Milwaukee County. The outbreak has appeared in 10 other states as well, causing 7 deaths. And as voters head to the poll for governor and senator, many will find another question on the ballot: advisory referendums asking voters if they support the legalization of marijuana for medical reasons or personal recreation will be on the ballot in 16 Wisconsin counties and 2 cities this November. Tuesday, high in the mid-80s, chance of thunderstorms. Overnight lows near 70. Wednesday's high in the mid-70s. Scattered thunderstorms possible starting in the morning. For Real Resistance Radio, I'm Keith Gosted.
Women want them. Men want to be them. Tom and Crute are the Devil's Advocates.
Come, my lady, come, my lady. Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates. It is the happy hour. Your calls always welcome here. 844-967-2789. I'd like a little help building a couple of FM radio stations if you want to be a part. Plenty of ways to reach out to Crudy. Call me, 844-967-2789. Dom, gonna jump back to the phones momentarily. Wanted to throw out a little Scott Bauer piece at the Associated Press. You know how we're trying to win over young voters here in the state of Wisconsin?
Speaking to their needs.
Yes.
Student loans, legalized marijuana.
And puppies.
I love puppies.
Yes. Let's hope young Democrats do as well. Democrats know who their voters are. They just have to figure out how to get them to the polls in November, and that's where the puppies come in. Students returning to the UW-Madison campus this summer were greeted by therapy dogs for petting. Those lured by the chance to ruffle a dog's ears were asked to register to vote, a Pups to the Polls gimmick that was one of several similar events being staged in 11 battleground states by the liberal group Next Gen America. Call me Tom Steyer. Young people tend to vote for Democrats, but they also tend to stay away during midterm elections. It's a perennial frustration for the party. One is trying to overcome as it seeks to take control of Congress. Next Gen America, formed by billionaire activist Tom Steyer, hopes to be a game changer. Steyer is investing more than $30 million in what's believed to be the largest voter engagement effort of its kind in U.S. history. The push to register and get pledges from college students to vote is focusing on states such as Wisconsin, Virginia, California, and North Carolina, with competitive races for Congress, U.S. Senate, and other offices. Next Gen sees young voters such as Kellen Sharp as a key to flipping targeted seats from red to blue. The outcome of this election definitely affects us, said Sharp, an 18-year-old freshman from Milwaukee who stopped to register during the dog event this week before classes. I'm just excited to have a voice and say something. Well, here's my point. Here's why I bring up this puppy to the polls. Next Gen, Tom Steyer has $30 million to invest. No, granted, that's 4 states being mentioned. So what, that's like $8 million per state, puppies to the polls? Now, Tom, maybe it's just because I'm in the forest here of talk radio. But what do the right-wingers do to get out the vote?
They raffle assault weapons?
Well, perhaps in small part. They rally around right-wing talk radio. There are 81 right-wing talk radio stations in the state of Wisconsin cranking out 235 hours a day of right-wing talk.
A day!
And there's Real Resistance Radio. And the Democrats don't even advertise here. And Tom Steyer's got $8 million to throw at puppies to the polls. Well, Tom Steyer, call me, 844-967-2789. Do you understand the millions of dollars that are going to flow through the campaign industrial network in the next 60 days?
A lot.
And do you know how little of that money I'm ever going to see towards the expenses here at WRD and
Very
WTTN?
little.
Yeah,
if history is any trendsetter.
I suspect it will be a sad fall. And it's not that we don't want to be helpful. It's not that I haven't spilled like $1.5 million in counting to provide messaging platforms for the Democratic Party. And it's not even like I expect them to use us. But you think there would be some wisdom there, and I'm not clear that there's any wisdom there, Tom. I'm not clear at all. 844-967-2789. Someone else talk.
You are just not as cute as a puppy, I guess.
I am not.
Hey, we got a Tom on the line. Could it be the Tom from Cedarburg? Hey, Tom, welcome to the Devil's Advocates. What do you got today?
Tom, you got some millions or some puppies for me?
I wish I did. You guys are certainly a good cause, and I've been listening for about 3 months now, and I for the most part, I enjoy most of what I hear. I did listen to right-wing radio for many years, but I'm so sick of it, and it's turned out to be such a bunch of lies and deceit that I am done with it. And but the thing is, they hook the common goodwill person with saying, well, we're going to stop abortion. Well, they've been in power for almost 2 years now, and they've done nothing to stop abortion. They're not, creating any laws on a federal level to stop it, and yet goodwill common people, want to see this stopped. And if you look at the polls, most people are against it. I mean, I do agree. There's the 3 main reasons, incest, abortion, and the life of the mother. I do agree with that, but I think there should be something, like an understanding in the middle, between both sides. But as far as the radio station goes, boy, the Democrats are being fools. I don't understand why they are not coming to you and running more ads. I did hear a few ads, prior to the election, just a few here and there, but I don't understand why they're not embracing you guys and, getting involved with you guys and talking about you. And, they're certainly willing to come online and talk, but, like you say, it's got to be more of a financial thing because, the Republicans, they've got they've got so much power, and they're so heartless and so cruel. And look at the guy to Janesville. What a two-faced. I'm sorry, his action does not go along with what he said. He would do. Treat the Wisconsinites, and there he is. He's just leaving. He's not sticking around to help correct some of the mess he's made, and allowing to continue now. In Washington, it's terrible.
Well, Tom, I would say it's not just the financial support of the Democrats. I can bemoan the fact someone's not spending money here. At this point, I'm done begging. I'm done asking. But what is really shocking to me is that these candidates aren't seeking what we call earned media, which means free media. Why isn't Tammy Baldwin coming around once every 2 weeks? I mean, Ron Johnson comes down once a month. He brings beer. Dom's into Ron Johnson like 3 cases this year alone. We haven't seen Tammy's been down to this studio once since we moved in. I just don't understand. Not the financial. I mean, they got to make their own financial decisions. It's in their best interest to do whatever they think they got to do. I mean, I'm out of that mix, Tom. I'm not a candidate. But I can tell you that as a political talk platform, the right wing certainly understands it. And while I'm certainly not bemoaning the money, Tom, the biggest buy on this radio station during the primary, it was Brian Stile, the Republican, running to replace Paul Ryan.
Right.
Biggest individual dollar-wise ad buy was a Republican on Real Resistance Radio. What's that tell you?
Yeah, it's a mystery to me, Crudy. I mean, it just I don't understand it, and I think it's gonna, for some reason, it's taken a while for these people to understand. I mean, to come on your show is really free publicity too, and it's by a focused audience that is interested in hearing what they have to say.
Well, Tom, and the most surprising part is everyone that listens isn't a true blue lefty. There are lots of persuadable independents that just want to hear something other than Mark Belling's nasally whining that tune into this show. We got conservatives that tune into this show, Tom. Some of them are open-minded and might even consider voting for something other than Walker and Leah Vukmer if they were given an alternative, if they actually knew what the Democrats stood for, other than we don't like Trump.
Or abortion. I'm sorry, that's the other thing too, and that really is slicing a lot of good people away from them. They need to get a more reasonable viewpoint, I think, if they honestly want to win. And to say, well, you can kill a baby as it's ready to come out of the womb. Sorry, that's not it.
Well, Tom, I'm not gonna argue abortion rights, but I get your point. I think Bill Clinton said, rare, safe, and legal. And I guess, Tom, my only attitude about any women's reproductive right issue is it's her body. And the decision should be made by her. And, my decision-making kind of ends at her body.
Thanks for the call, Tom. We certainly appreciate it. Crudy, the free media that Tom talked about, and we had a great time hanging out with some of our labor and union pals yesterday, but there was a lot of people who wanted to come around and jump on. Of course, we enjoyed the conversation. That's what we like to do. Talk to people, talk about their ideas, get to know them. What makes them tick? How would you change it? Those are things that I find interesting, and I hope the audience is driven by that. But here's the other thing. I'm not a card-carrying Democrat, man. I'm as independent as they come. I voted for all kinds. I take on all comers. Depends on what the mood is, what the day is, what the topic is, what the philosophy is, and I reserve the right to change my damn mind whenever I choose. So I'm not going to be,
So what you're saying is you're the problem.
I'm not going to toe the line for any one particular political party. What I am most concerned about is holding those in power to account to, random thoughts of every person like me. That's what I'm about. We have to hold our leaders accountable. Hopefully that's something that people realize that I try to do in my own little ways. But Crudy, is that the liability, man? Can they just not control the devil's advocates, that we're not going to toe a particular line, and therefore, what do you do with those guys?
And you ask about weed policy often.
Yes.
I've heard that. I've heard we're uncontrollable. We're not good little boys. You can't rub us behind the ears. We don't roll up, belly up, and say,
come on, you could show up with a six-pack and hang out for a little bit. I mean, when have we ever torn someone a new ass because they showed up and, we didn't like their politics? I mean, if it's not Ron Johnson, who? I mean, of course we have respectful conversations for the most part. You know, we try to...
Present company excluded.
Civil discourse. Well, Crudy, of course. You and I, we give each other a little leeway. We've known each other for 25 years. We can go there, and we're not going to take it personal. It's just politics. But come on. If that's it, if someone, a politician, wouldn't come around for that free earned media because they make it ask the weed question, maybe you shouldn't be a politician.
Well, here's the problem as I see it. And it's not even so much whether or not they want to come on the Devil's Advocates. We're uncontrollable. We admit it.
And lovable.
But mostly uncontrollable. But do you not want to turn out African-American voters? I mean, honestly, are you going down the path of Hillary Clinton or Russ Feingold? What's your preference? Are we following the Tom Barrett example or the Mary Burke example? Because unless African-American voters in the city of Milwaukee show up and vote, it's going to be a sad Tuesday in November. It's going to be lots of crying and what happened? Someone will write a book. It's probably going to be called What Happened? I can tell you what happened. We did not involve, we did not message to, we did not give a platform to people of color, to African Americans. We didn't give them any reason to vote for our lily white progressive platforms. So if you want to turn out African Americans, maybe you don't show up here on the Devil's Advocates, although I'd like to think we've got a diverse audience. But maybe you show up on Earl's show. Maybe you go and you show up on Sherwin's show. Maybe you try and message to African American voters and ask for their votes. Wouldn't that be a swell and quaint,
what a novel idea.
Concept?
Yeah, you want someone to vote for you. You show up and you ask them for their votes. And then you may actually have to take a couple of tough questions. But I'm sure as seasoned politicians and, adult human beings, they should be able to have a cohesive and cogent conversation.
If you're running for something, you should be able to go on any program.
Anytime, anywhere.
Defend yourself. Defend
everything,
your positions.
all the time.
If only you could defend yours.
Crazy town. It's crazy town.
Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. You want to join us? Call us. Might be an uncontrollable conversation. 844-967-2789. One guy passed out, but no one's ever cried. Right? We never made anyone cry in here.
No.
Well, just Dom a little.
Not in front of us.
And let's not forget Gary. Gary cries with frequency. Once again, come back, call or text. May throw one more Scott Walker bash in, just for good measure. That'll be a freebie for all my Democratic friends.
What about Leah? Leah.
Oh, Lion Leah? I prefer Nurse Ratchet. Doesn't roll off the tongue the same way, but it gets to the heart of the matter. More Devils on the other side.
Come and dance with me. 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 Come and dance with me.
Well, I have a microphone and you don't.
So you will listen to every damn word I have to say! Hey, what happened? Who cares?
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property, or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009, or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Businesses today thrive and survive with technology. At Five Nines, we provide businesses with the IT tools they need to stay relevant. We offer enterprise-level solutions at competitive prices. I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO of Five Nines. Let us manage your IT so you can focus on more important things, like running your business. Check us out at fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA, not only in my state, but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
The Devil's Advocates, where there's always time for Scott Walker bashing. Hashtag Walker bashing.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Phone lines are open. You can join us anytime. What's the last segment? Better do it now. 844-967-2789.
Let's just get back to the phones and our buddy Pizza, the box. How you doing, Michael?
Well, you know, that Senate hearing went so well that one of my 6-week-old kittens decided to leave like a pile of Kavanaugh on the carpet. So the right shape, the right color, the right steam, everything. You know, it's been fun on Facebook for me today because people that I went to high school with that haven't responded in any way, shape, or form are saying stuff to me like, hey, your page is a page for idiots. And then I have to say, and thanks for playing, you're an idiot. I mean, you just responded to it, so that must mean you are an idiot. And it's all because of what? Because I know Scott Walker is a douche for Wisconsin and that we're really hurting. And just because you went to the Cubs and Brewers and had a great time and posted that on your Facebook and made it your page and everything and offered, hey, I would have taken you and it would have been on me. I don't want you to take me to the game, dude. I want you to wake up and smell the coffee. You're from Wisconsin, and just because you don't live here anymore doesn't mean you shouldn't feel, you know, kind of connected to us. But thanks anyway. You know, that's what we're fighting. We're fighting a level of ignorance that just, and it comes from both sides, let's face it.
All right, but Mike, is it willful? Is it just people are otherwise entertained or otherwise so very busy? You know, I mean, what is it about a 22% turnout in the primary that gets everyone so excited? This is pathetic, Mike. We deserve the ass beating we're getting because nobody cares.
Well, you know, you and I are recovering Catholics. It's biblical news. And those in the final days will be blinded to the truth. And it's no more true than watching people listen to this a-hole Trump. You know what I mean? I met a gal today that she's totally conservative. And she's like, yeah, well, it's still better than what Hillary would have done. And she and her kids are on Badger care, man. God, you guys just don't get it, man. And you know, so I make these posts, and it's funny because it's true. Oh my God, let's just keep laughing. It's gonna go away real soon.
Just don't cry, man.
Hey, guess what? It didn't rain yet, but it's coming again.
No climate change. No climate change.
Palm trees in the background, and cars flipping and burning in about 10 years.
Well, you're talking about the riotous days of Act 10. Now, Leah Vukmer, and appreciate the call, Pizza. Leah Vukmer got called a big fat liar today by PolitiFact Wisconsin. Pants on Fire doesn't get any worse than that, does it, Dom?
She would not be my first choice, that I can tell.
In her battle against U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin, Republican Leah Vukmer is presenting herself as a tried, true, and tested conservative. That approach was evident in the primary battle in which Vukmer, a state senator from Brookfield, defeated U.S. Marine veteran and businessman Kevin Nicholson.
In one media market. In Milwaukee. What do you think her advantage was? How do you think she won one of 7 media markets?
Republican conservative talk radio?
Right-wing talk radio. Ding, ding, ding.
During a July 26, 2018 primary debate, Vukmir stressed that Wisconsin Republicans have moved the conservative ball down the field. We are not establishment Republicans in Wisconsin. We are activist Republicans.
Oh, I'll say.
Vukmir then pitched herself as a strong leader with a track record who's not going to buckle, and cited the 2011 battle over Act 10, declaring, I have been through the gauntlet when we had riots in that capital. What, Crudy?
The 2011 protest against what would become Act 10 turned into a round-the-clock occupation of the Capitol, with demonstrators camping out in the rotunda. It was the largest series of protests at the Capitol since the Vietnam War, with the crowds reaching an estimated 100,000 in early March after the bill had been signed by newly elected Governor Scott Walker. The protests were over a push by Walker and Republicans in the legislature to dramatically curtail collective bargaining for most public employees. The move allowed the state and other units of government to require a higher share of pension and healthcare costs to be paid by workers, which Walker and the GOP said was needed to close the state budget gap. The protest and the fact Senate Democrats fled to Illinois to delay a vote drew major news coverage for weeks. The tumult even attracted international attention from Petro Duda, president of the 700,000-member Polish trade union Solidarity, releasing a statement in support of the Wisconsin protesters. Meanwhile, Ian's Pizza, where do you think the pizza box mic comes from? Ian's Pizza delivered hundreds of free pizzas to the Capitol, with the cost picked up by contributions from all 50 states, as well as Bosnia, China, Egypt, France, and 20 other countries. But pizzas, deliveries, in a riot zone, question mark? A similar claim. Matthias Google, communications director for Vukmir's Senate campaign, did not respond to our request for backup of Vukmir's claim.
Riot!
This is not the first time we heard and evaluated a riot claim. Appearing on MSNBC's Morning Show program, February 17, 2011, Paul Ryan defended Walker's efforts. It's not asking a lot. It's still about half of what the private sector pensions do and healthcare packages do, Ryan said. So Walker's basically saying, I want you public workers to pay half of what our private sector counterparts pay, and he's getting riots. It's like Cairo has moved to Madison these days.
Come on.
At the time, protests had also swept through the Middle East. In Egypt, 18 days of protest led to the February 11, 2011 resignation of Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak. Our rating of Ryan's riot claim, pants on fire. Numerous law enforcement agencies handled the protest, including the Dane County Sheriff's Department, Madison Police, State Department of Natural Resources. I got my ticket from a game warden, and Capitol Police, but only a handful of arrests were reported. For the most part, people have been very respectful and very orderly. A public information officer for the Dane County Sheriff said at the time, it certainly has been a very peaceful protest. To be sure, there were threats made against Walker and GOP lawmakers. But down to the rating, Leah Vukmir, big fat liar. Pants on fire.
The claim of riots in the Capitol was debunked in 2011 and rarely, if ever, has come up since. That is until Vukmir put herself in the hot seat by recycling the claim, still rated pants on fire when Vukmir says it, just like when Paul Ryan said it.
Do you think she'll claim it was riotous at the Kavanaugh hearings this morning?
Riots.
Thank our guest, protester, arrestee, Sarah Pearson, co-chair of the Wisconsin Women's March, Wisconsin. I struggled with that all day. Thank her. Thank you, Sarah, for joining us on the big show. Please tune in tomorrow. I'll be a little closer to home tomorrow. And the next day, I'll be back on Friday, though. A little more Milwaukee. Can't get away. Love this city. Just love it if it's a little closer to home for me. Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a great day. If you want to get a hold of me and be my partner, find a way. Reach out. See ya again on the radio tomorrow.
Aren't you ashamed?
You're crazy.
I find it sexy.
My party is going bat crazy.
I alone can fix it.
You're crazy, man.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a